Okay, this is an M&A show. Is this an M&A show? What's an
You gotta
M&A?
give him a little flavor.
I think it's an Eminem podcast.
It's an Eminem podcast? I don't know if I want to do an Eminem podcast.
The whitest thing on the internet, probably, right? More so than MMA is Eminem podcast.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He's the greatest rapper alive, dude.
Greatest rapper alive.
He's lyrically just genius, dude.
But
Except for when he wants to be a clown.
But Lil Wayne made that. Lil Wayne made that song. Said best rapper alive. So isn't he the best rapper alive?
Was that
Yeah.
like 2008?
Yeah.
I'm saying.
I mean, for a time, he actually was though. Like,
Yeah.
For
He
like
was really
a hot,
good.
Carter
like,
1, Carter 2.
The
Dude,
drought,
I
Carter
think
3.
the Drought 3 is the greatest fucking
dedication
thing
2 as well. That's a great.
The Drought
mixtape.
3 is amazing. Dude.
My favorite thing from him is actually the Carter 2. I
Carter
love just
fucking-
about everything on there except for Fireman.
Carter 1,
Yeah.
I like Carter 1 out of the Carters.
Hustler
Third
music.
one, fucking.
Hustler-
Music's my favorite song, probably.
I called it.
The third one was
Good
like
song.
everybody
What?
waited for that for so long, and then it was
He's
just
like,
kind
"Called
of
it."
disappointing. The third one.
Yeah, the third one. The
It's
third one
okay.
wasn't great.
It's
It's a
okay,
couple good
but
songs
it was
on there.
it was like a lot of hype, and then it was like, yeah, it's just.
It's like,
not-
yeah, okay, good, cool.
I feel
I'm a
like
big fan of the first one. Though.
he got lazy. He got really
That's-
lazy after the
yeah.
third quarter.
He just started putting words together that rhymed. They weren't really like he
Yeah.
wasn't
Well,
really
and
saying
I
anything.
think he lost Manny Fresh.
Yeah.
As like a producer, and it kind of went. down.
Yeah, but still, your lyrics. I mean, it's cool that you can rhyme a whole bunch of crazy words, but like actually say something. Just like duck, buck,
Yeah.
chuck.
Or
Well,
just-
I mean, I stopped paying attention.
What are we saying?
I mean, he brought in a lot of good talent.
I stopped paying attention
Yeah.
when it started sucking pretty quick. So like,
Yeah.
I was there when it was great, and then like immediately I was like, nope, he's done. I don't like
Yeah.
it anymore.
Well-
it was like Carter 3. That was it.
Especially
Never
like
listened to him
after
again.
Rebirth came out, like what the fuck, dude? Like, come on, this is a Little Wayne podcast. We got off Eminem real fast. It was like Little Wayne.
Well, it had to be done.
Yeah. What about Encore by Eminem though? That album was disappointing when it came out in 2004.
Yeah, it was not
Fact?
an encore.
Fack and ass like that. Come
Talk
on.
about Sepultura instead, dude.
Oh my
Once
God.
Roots came out, that
Yeah.
okay, we're done. We're just like
We can do that.
I don't even remember how we got here.
well, I thought you said Eminem podcast, and I was like,
Yeah,
it's a funny idea.
I thought you were talking about the candy, but
I'm not even sure what I said, to be honest with you.
it was
I just,
a general
I
flub
just
of a
couldn't
word.
get MMA out. All right.
oh, that's
well,
what you were trying to say.
well, I guess we should say this is MMA Fools, and today we're going to talk about rap
Yeah, the whole time.
the whole time. So if you're turning in to hear about the fights, tune right on out.
We could talk about D-Unit or Lloyd Banks.
I think
or
the word
whatever.
"fools" reserves us a right to just fucking go off the rails.
Right. That's the whole key to the naming here. Same with Gathering of Fools.
Well, I heard that the
Built
link
in.
the link them together. I heard that if you come out to is it Lingam? Is it no? It's Eminem. Most people who come out to Eminem
Ah!
lose their fights. I heard that's a thing. If you come out to Eminem, you
I
lose
can
your
see
fight.
that. I don't
Yeah.
really.
Oh yeah, he's like a fucking
Curse.
Curse.
It's like a
he's
Drake
a
thing
mental
too.
killer.
Say Drake curse.
Yeah, if you take a picture of Drake, you're gonna lose your fight.
Oh yeah, Drake's the fucking yeah, because Connor did that.
It's
the
like, oh,
fucking,
fuck.
he's holding
I would.
I think
That's the
wasn't
corniest
Max
picture.
the only one that didn't?
Right. And then the EA curse too for a while. If you had
Dude.
the EA cover.
The
Yeah.
pictures
Yo,
of Drake
yeah.
like being very happy behind sports stars is just so funny to me.
It's
like,
so
he's-
funny. It's like a fangirl.
like a
It's
mom.
crazy. I'm not.
Wait, what? Look over. He's on the screen.
Deletes spreadsheet in an attempt to approve
Oh
MMA
my.
fighters who walk
That's-
out to Eminem
Well,
tend to
there's
lose
an
more
article
frequently.
about it. That's funny.
Doesn't it look like he's wearing makeup all the fucking time?
It really does.
His face looks like a fucking woman's.
It's a little rough.
Yeah.
It's got
I like how like this is the MMA like journalist is like articles like this.
right.
Like, this is the extent of like the
What does
journalism.
it say
of
in
MMA.
a
It must
post?
be a slow day.
In a post on Sherdog forums, creator Jay explained that details behind the Eminem MMA curse, which stands at 86, 89, and 3 after the last result at a UFC Fight
I'm
Night
just impressed we
164.
found a way to connect this to him.
yeah, that was pretty good. Well done, both of you. But so really, it's not really that big of a curse.
I mean,
It's pretty equal.
no, it's. I mean, yeah, it's
Not as
slightly.
prevalent
I mean, it
as the
shouldn't be
EA
that.
curse.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably wouldn't use his music to walk out to
No,
after seeing.
I would
that,
walk
but-
out the Pantera 5 minutes alone, dude. That would be the
Yeah,
song.
that's good.
Yeah.
There's nothing about Eminem that like would pump me up to go get in a fight.
No, I mean, like, and especially it's so
Unless
like,
I was like trying to fight my mom, maybe.
yeah, or just like fight somebody at high school or something.
right.
Maybe if you were coming into like your homeroom to fight some kid, that's the fight. That's the song you'd have on.
My fight song might be LL Cool J Ripper Strikes Back.
Is that the cannabis disc?
Yeah.
What's your fight song, dude?
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah, I
ever,
knew
what,
that.
You're
you,
good
you
over
never,
there.
You had
Thank
to
you.
have thought about what song you would come out to.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. It always like goes back. Like it just cycles through. Like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Mine's
Yeah.
always been 5 minutes long, 5 minute rounds. Like it's perfect. Like
Then you
Yeah.
gas
I'm
out though.
fucking you up in 5
If
minutes.
you gas out in 10 minutes, you're done.
They're 5 minute rounds.
I know mine, but I'm not saying it.
Why?
Because it,
What is it?
Uh-oh.
because
All right.
it may happen one day, and I don't want to tell anybody.
Who's it by? You don't have to say. You don't have to say.
Oh,
there would
well,
be-
that's fine.
There technically would be two because depending
Who's the
on
well?
Yeah, who's the artist?
Queen would be one of them.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, and what would be the other one?
I don't really know yet on that one. It'd probably be something like hard. I'd probably want to go something like the hardcore.
Yeah, like more heavier.
I mean, the
Yeah.
more fights you
Probably
have,
knocked loose.
the more fights you'd have, the more
Something
you'd be
knocked
like,
loose.
whatever you probably felt that period of time, you would change
Yeah.
it. Like some people come out to the same thing all the time, and I'm like,
I know
I'd
that
change mine
Nick
to
Diaz
something.
always comes out to Deftones, Fiat Cetra,
Yeah.
or whatever. Fiat
I
Cetra.
love Deftones.
Yeah,
Maybe.
he always comes out to that. I always know it's his entrance. But I know that fucking what does Carlos Condit always came out to something specific. I forget though. There's always fighters.
Silva's always DMX, right?
Ain't No
Michael
Sunshine
Chiesa
by what?
always
Bill.
Return of the Mac.
Who is it?
Michael Chiesa.
Right, and then Silva always comes out to isn't it? Ain't No Sunshine? Who's that? Bill Withers or whatever, mixed with like DMX. He always has like that old song intro.
The dark and hell is hot.
Yeah, and that's pretty sick actually. And yeah, it's funny to even like go back and because like there's articles on MMA Junkie after most big fights that goes through their walkout songs as you see who picked what, and it's always interesting to see. Like all the Brazilian fighters, it's always just like some Brazilian
Random hail,
Yeah.
hail.
yeah, it's like okay, I guess you just listen to this and you're like that's all you listen to. Is
Well,
fucking,
Silva's Brazilian, and he picked fucking DMX. So
yeah, I know that. I think that
if
Condit
they're
came out to
well-traveled.
Lincoln Park a bunch. I think it was Lincoln Park. I'm
Oh
like,
God.
I guess that's when you got your last win. Whenever they were a big band, Condit. He won his last fight, so whatever. But
Yeah, is he done?
Condit, no, I think he went to fight Matt Brown. I heard that fight.
What's
no.
up with Benavidez?
He probably is done.
I mean,
He's
he
still
was,
unconscious.
but he was very
He's still
set
unconscious
on,
from that.
Yeah, I know.
Aw.
He's still screaming.
Night terrors from Figueroa or whatever.
He seemed very adamant
Poor
that he
Joe.
wanted to end with a win, though. And I mean, I feel like I'm like, dude, he might just go down a real bad like
Yeah,
3-6
slump.
fight
Well, because
losing streak.
I can't think of many fighters in the top 10 now that he'd win against.
No, like,
Like-
the division has like become
Gotten
fucking
good.
monsters all of a sudden. Like,
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
even like even someone like Kai Kara France or whatever. Like
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't
yeah.
expect him to beat him because I feel like Benavidez is like really slow, and that's the worst thing to be in that division.
Hey,
And
he's,
yeah,
he's
if you're
visibly
slow at
old, dude.
35 or
And he's
25,
tiny.
Yeah.
He's very tiny. Like even for that size, you know what I mean? Like he's just. Look at Figueroa could have threw him around like all day.
He doesn't have much stopping power either, so it's not like he has like a lot of power to rely on. He hits decently hard, but it's not like he's like a fucking power puncher enough to like offset his slowness. And
Right.
it's hard to land it if you're slow. So
Yeah.
All right, well, we were experimenting with new lighting here, and apparently we had a bad bulb in that thing, so I had to replace it. That'll be a fun portion of the podcast, In the Dark.
it was kind of cool.
Podcast in the
We had a
dark.
pretty good conversation.
Yeah, we're talking walkout songs.
You should
Oh,
pay
yeah.
us more, dude. Really.
I wish I could pay anybody. I wish I could pay myself. All this thing does is cost me money.
You should write yourself a small like check every week of like, all right, this
Even if
is
it's
$20
your own
allowance
money.
on my podcast work,
Yeah.
just to make yourself feel good about your work you do here.
So far, thousands of dollars out, $0 in.
That's how it works.
Give yourself
Actually-
a per diem a day.
Actually, a couple of donations. I've had a couple of donations.
That's pretty.
so,
Cool. Do you
yeah.
have what is like? I don't understand Patreon and all that shit, but like,
You do like $1 a month. Usually it's like tiers. You can do tiers.
Yeah.
So I belong to a few patrons. And
I hate the idea of charging people to
Yeah.
listen to something that.
Well,
but
but if
right
they
now we're just
volun-
trying to get people
but if
to
they
listen
volunteer,
to.
like I'm a fan of what you do, and they want to donate, I mean that seems cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, to make people have to pay, like
Right.
why would you? I would never
Right.
set it up that way.
Especially when we're trying to build a fan base.
Yeah,
it's
Like nobody knows who we are. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you don't know me, but you're gonna pay me to talk about MMA.
Yeah.
right.
And what's weird is like some marketing guy would be like, well, but if you make them pay, it makes it more prestigious, and it's. I'm not that.
I feel like if you have a big
asshole.
following already, you could translate that over to a certain number of patrons.
Yeah.
I guess would be like if you have like 500,000 subscribers on YouTube or whatever,
Right.
that could translate to half the people coming to Patreon
Right.
or a quarter of them even. If you get $1 a month, that's a lot of money.
So not 50.
What?
Subscribers.
No, not 50 subscribers. No, $50 a month. Would
Jacob,
be
we're
nice.
almost there.
But that's how this internet thing works, dude. It builds. It's just.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a slow climb. It's just a
Yeah.
numbers game, and how much can you put out, and eventually something catches on, and somebody goes through your whole backlog, and
Yeah.
that's how it works.
I feel like this is a harder business to catch catch something in, and like because there's not really a lot of like YouTube, like it's not specially, we're not offering something that's so special that they have to come to us, but we're offering something that's good.
Yeah.
But it's not like if you're the best YouTuber in a game, that could be stand out way faster than like being a pretty good solid MMA podcast. It's harder to catch notoriety in a fast manner.
It's a niche thing, but I feel like there's not many people doing just a bullshitting conversation about MMA in a podcast.
I don't think there's a whole lot actually. So
Right.
that's one of the reasons I was happy to do
They're
this.
either
Plus,
like
I love MMA and I like talking
the
about
people
it.
that cover it are like talking to you the whole time. You know what I mean? They're giving you information, but they're not just like having a conversation.
Right. Yeah.
And people like that. Like, you know what I mean? That's why we watch Joe Rogan and shit all the fucking time.
Yeah,
Like,
for
I don't
sure.
watch it much anymore, but
I still
no,
do.
I haven't in a while either. Honestly,
it's been probably a year since I've really
watch old
watched
ones.
much.
Yeah.
If there's a guest that I'm really into, I'll definitely watch it. But
I still listen to and watch probably close to most of them.
Did you watch the Kanye West episode?
I tried to.
It's hard.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's very
It's
difficult.
very, very difficult.
what's the problem?
What's not the problem?
Is that
Is he whacked? Or what?
he's
I was interested.
he's a smart moron.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I feel like it's something that's off about like the way he puts together thoughts.
Yeah, like
There's- he has
sometimes
no
he says
sh-
shit that's like really brilliant.
Well, and he has no stream of thought. Like the way he thinks is like, I'm talking about this over here, and in the middle of this topic, I'm going to suddenly jump way over
I
here,
think they
and then
call
I'm going to
that
go
ADD.
over here.
Yeah, something like that.
It's a problem. And like Joe
Yeah,
Rogan
but
was
that
asking
is
him,
like a thing that creates genius, though. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
God.
Like,
I didn't see any genius in there actually.
well, you do. I mean, it comes out in his music. Like, he is fucking whacked for sure. But like, he is legitimately one of the best producers. alive.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
yeah, I like
really
Kanye.
He kept asking him like, because he's went on there to talk about the fact that he is still running for president.
Yeah.
He
And
said in his song 2020 run the whole
Yeah.
election.
he said Joe asked him like, what do you think you can bring to the table
Seriously?
that makes you a good choice for like leader of the free world? And he was like, all right, well, the music industry is fucked, right? And you're like,
Where's this going?
Yeah.
yeah. And then he goes on some crazy random story about the music industry and how the music
Didn't really
industry
answer
needs
your
fixed.
shit.
It's like
And I'm like, what? What's that have to do with anything?
It's an example of the powers of gay fish.
If you fix the music industry, is that going to fix the country? I'm not. What?
it's like there's clips that you can find on YouTube of like Kanye West on on the Joe Rogan, like Kanye West on his like religious conversion. You could like put any headlining title over any part of the conversation and it would be the same thing because it just doesn't answer even the question that he asked. It's all thing just like mushed together. There's no clear answer to anything that Joe Rogan asked that I saw.
I think he's psycho.
And like also like him being super religious is like it's whatever
He
religious
just hops
freedom.
around like he's just manic, dude.
Yeah, that's I feel like it's just like a something to fall into that he wasn't in before that he could find something in. And it's like I guess that's a lot of religion
Yeah.
thing, but
Yeah, but
next thing after this, Kanye will be doing something fucking else. In 15
it's hard to
years.
say because God has destined him to be the leader of the free world.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean,
I think that's the
I'm
main
better
point
off
he
with
was.
that than with our options.
I don't know if that's necessarily
But-
true.
I miss the Kanye
I don't know.
that put the pussy in the sarcophagus. I miss that Kanye from that song because that's a better Kanye.
I'm
think.
not-
I don't know, dude. I think the Yeezus album is brilliant. Like, and I'm like, listen to the shit he says on that. I'm like, how does this dude go from saying this shit,
Yeah,
like the Billie Holiday sample and shit, like
Oh my
what I mean,
God.
the Black Fruit.
he's
and
still a good
trees.
producer. That
I love
And then
that
like to
song.
go, you're this Trump guy, and it's like, what the fuck are you? What are you, dude? What are
Wait,
you
I
trying
thought
to
he
even
came
say?
out and said that
He's not really a
was,
Trump
like,
guy.
He'd use that.
Yeah,
as,
but
a
like
marketing
what?
ploy.
But he's so like he knows how to play people. He's probably like, yeah, let's spin it again.
Well, yeah, he's married to Kim
until like we were
Kardashian.
trying to do this. All it does make sense though. Like it kind of does align. Like she was really getting people out of prison and shit. Like
yeah, she actually
really
did
was.
some good shit.
No.
That was
So like
actually
I'm
really
like,
weird.
whenever they said that, I was like, that might be true, dude. Like they might know. They might have just played Trump and got a bunch of people out of prison. But
Yeah.
like. No, he's really like you're saying on the podcast. So obviously he's still like whacked out, right?
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
I've tried to watch
Is
it
he
3
not
different
still claiming
times.
the Trump shit though, or
He's not
is
really
he
bl-
totally
No.
disavowed?
He's
that?
just pretty much his whole thing is God has destined him to be the leader of the free world.
Now Yeezy though is a Trumper, so we can circle back to Lil Wayne and just
Oh my god.
talk about how he likes Trump a lot. So.
All right, well, let's get into MMA.
Yeah.
So we went back to rap.
Yeah.
Let's don't
It's
get
easy.
back.
It's easy to circle back to rap.
Let's
It was a miracle we got it back to MMA in the first place off of the Eminem thing. Let's just get back.
Let's just go back to it. So I guess we can. Do you guys want to start? Even though I didn't get a chance to watch it, I don't know if you watched it, Kyle. But did you guys at least want to talk briefly about the Mousasi and Lima fight?
Yeah.
sure.
I watched it, and
I think you guys called it though. Like his jab was the thing. And who was it that called out the jab? You called out the jab. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. And like his
Yeah.
jab kept
You
him
watched
off
it too,
in the
Kyle?
middle rounds.
did you watch it?
Yeah, and
It was a
then,
boring
like,
fight.
I mean, yeah.
It was technical to a degree.
Lima really didn't belong. I don't know.
He didn't push. A lot of it's like I feel like he overestimated Mousasi's sort of ability to do damage to him, and Mousasi wasn't really pushing either. But he didn't push till later in the later rounds, and then it's like a little too late in terms of like him coming on. So it's like
I just wish he could have repeated that ground and pound.
First
in the
round was pretty brutal,
'cause,
yeah.
He really had him, but I think he used a lot of his energy doing that, and that kind of set his laziness up for the rest of the fight. Because
yeah,
that's classic Moose.
yeah, and I feel like Lima was a lot more durable than Mousasi maybe would have thought that he would have been after that ground and pound, and he sort of coasted and sort of just did the bare minimum standing to nullify the offense of Lima.
Right.
And like he pushed, he was the aggressor, but also Lima didn't want to get taken out again, and he was giving Moose a little bit too much respect in the stand up to even try to initiate offense.
And Lima actually came out and said that he was upset with himself for not letting go more.
Yeah.
He said he said he did respect Mousasi's striking too much and did not do his game plan. He actually said he's also going to go back, defend his welterweight title,
Go back up.
and then go back up again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I feel like Mousasi has lost a step in terms of like maybe his I don't know, maybe a mental thing.
Mousasi's double champ right now.
What?
Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
Well, who's going back down?
Lima's going
Lima.
back down.
And then moving
going
back up.
Lima has the title
I
one
was
below.
one.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a welterweight champion.
And I think Mousasi. He's got what 50 fights.
56 fights or something.
He's
Like
Yeah.
so many. He's
So
the
you
best
know
one for
you're
sure.
gonna tire out after a
How
while.
old is Mousasi? 36.
35.
Yeah, he's been fighting a long time though. He's got a lot of fight miles on him.
But I can't wait for Mousasi versus Anderson Silva in Bellator next year.
Yeah, you were like, dude, Mousasi's fucking up, and I was like, yeah, probably, but like, I was really thinking of Anderson there at 205 though.
Yeah,
I think he could win that title there.
he's not beating Nemkov.
No, man,
No.
Nemkov.
Yeah,
That dude was a beast.
yeah.
Scary.
He made Ryan Bader look like Ryan Bader didn't belong in MMA.
Yeah, he fucked him up pretty bad. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust. I guess we'll get into the breakdown of Anderson in this
Yeah.
fight. But I just wouldn't trust him to initiate any sort of offense on most high level fighters now and do okay with that. It's just like the offense isn't there.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I have quite a bit to say about that fight actually. But let's get into the
Right.
first fight
Oh.
card.
Two things I
Oh,
want to
go ahead.
mention there real quick about Bellator. There were two kids from Pittsburgh that fought on the card, and they both won. Cody Law won his fight by submission via Darce, and Dalton Rasta beat Ty Werder by
I watched that
decision.
fight.
Unanimous. I mean, he'd pretty much... I think he's going to be a problem in that division for a lot of those guys as he gets older. 'cause,
What division was it?
He's at 185.
Okay.
Yeah, he looked kind of short for the division, but he's jacked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty big.
His wrestling's pretty good, too.
And he looked like he put it together in terms of the transitions pretty well. He was striking and grappling
Yeah.
seamlessly.
They both are down at American top team now, so they're both just going to continue to get better at one of the best gyms in
Right. Yeah, I
the
mean,
world, pretty much.
you sort of have to go to a gym like that eventually, I think, don't you? Like, I know that Common Worthy does pretty okay with his own gym, but, I mean, I don't know if he's going to be a world champion out of Pittsburgh, and we could. I'm not saying you couldn't because, it could happen anywhere. But it's just like a lot of this, like how Cody went to Team Alpha Male after training and Pittsburgh or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was good for Cody to get out of Team Alpha Male.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
so,
Team Alpha Male doesn't really have that many people anymore.
yeah.
Well, he's still doing both. He goes out to New Jersey and still trains.
That fucking
out
sucks.
there.
That flying and shit.
Yeah.
That's like the opposite parts of
like
the
a
country.
nightmare.
At least you have a place to stop in the middle.
Yerixville.
I get tired driving
It's not
around
really in the
locally.
middle
Like,
either. It's kinda
like, dude,
you're almost
I don't
there
want
at
to travel
that
as
point.
much.
Yeah. All right, so the first fight on the card was Bobby Green versus Thiago Moises. Moyeses, however you want to say.
Disappointing fight.
Very disappointing.
Yeah.
Bobby Green.
I would disagree.
First of all, it was a decision for Thiago Moyeses, which, looking at those stats, seems kind of crazy.
Yeah, I disagreed. I don't know. I walked away when they were giving the decision. I came back. I'm like, wait, what?
I know.
Moises won?
And they said unanimous, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm a little surprised by this because I watched this fight when I got home after drinking most of the night. It was the only fight I watched last night, and I thought Bobby Green was pretty unimpressive. And man, it looks like he landed double the amount of strikes and significant strikes and same amount of takedowns. I don't understand how he wins a unanimous decision.
It was all visual because he
was
cracked him in the
hard
second
shots.
round, I think, and really cracked the side of his face, and it swelled up real bad. I think his eye swelled up.
I feel like Bobby Green let the fight fall through his hands and sort of was like, I don't know. He
I
like
get that,
was
but-
taunting too much and like his hands were down.
Yeah, his hands were down the
Like,
whole
dude-
time.
The whole time.
And I know that's how he fights, but sometimes it comes back and bites you in the ass in terms of the judges.
Well, and you're not going to be able to make your way through the rankings just fighting with your hands.
But
down.
when he came in, dude, he was piecing him up every fucking time, dude. I don't know. Like, I didn't agree with the decision.
I mean, looking
don't
at
get
those
it.
stats, that seems like an awful decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know.
awful, unanimous decision, and he's got double the strikes.
It depends on what round this strikes fall in though, because of the way the judging
Yeah,
is.
That's true. They could all be one round.
Right. So he could have won a 20.
It
Lost
was
a 20
very. It
28.
was like he was leading early for sure,
Yeah.
but like I felt like he led more than halfway through the fight. You know, like I don't think it turned Moises' way till the end. So
Yeah.
and even then, it wasn't like totally his way. I don't know. I just didn't.
I was
agree
unimpressed
this
with
at all.
both of them, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. I was not impressed with either of these fighters. It was unfortunate. I was rooting for Bobby Green pretty heavily, and you can't just go out there with your hands down. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing that, you better knock somebody
And
out.
well, and like the kicks he was throwing, like anytime a guy walks at you like that with your hands out, it makes me nervous. Like, dude, he's throwing kicks at your head, and luckily he was there was tells and he was able to block them every time. But I'm like, you're leaving yourself wide open, dude. Like you could easily get kicked straight in the head.
Yeah.
And maybe that was the factor in the judges. Maybe they just didn't like him being cocky. I don't know, but I don't see how they fucking gave it to Moises.
I think they looked at his face and saw
Yeah.
Bobby Green's face was all messed
Yeah, but
up.
how
I think that
often-
would have
like,
to
how
be
many
it.
times is that? Did that sway the judges?
Didn't
Like,
work for
Joanna?
John Hendricks against GSP.
Right. Well, I think Bobby Green's lost like this before, so it's not really that surprising. He's lost fights where he just sort of did the bare minimum and sort of tried to skate by, and like it was a close fight. And whenever there's a close fight like this, it's hard to blame either guy. Like if you'd have won, I still would have not thought that great of a performance from Bobby Green.
Agreed.
Yeah,
No,
if it
like-
fell his way too, it's like, well, he barely won.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
like, oh, he's fucking robbed, but I just don't agree with the decision at all.
And like it's sort of a career mismanagement on his part, because it's like I don't really know who Thiago Moises is, and like he's sort of taking all these fights back to back and not really picking and choosing, and like that's honorable, but also very, very silly. Whenever
I don't think
you're
it
gonna-
sets him back very much.
No, but like it's just like the streak you've been going on to show up and put a performance like that does
Yeah.
yourself.
No, but he should probably
Feels
slow
bad.
down and, go back to the drawing board a little bit and come back in 6 months.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, he
regardless,
needs a break probably.
but regardless, when you put on a performance like that, it is going to hurt your I don't know if credit's the right word, but with fans.
Yeah.
Like fans do not like lackluster performances.
Well, I feel like the narrative before, because reading online, the narrative before about Bobby Green whenever he came into the streak was he turned the corner in his fight style in order to win fights sort of
Okay,
definitively.
36, right?
Yeah, like, before he'd lose like this as well, and that was like sort of how he was fighting, just like this. He turned the corner and was winning fights more often, more definitive. But now to lose like this again, it's sort of that hope that you had for his fighting style, turning the corner kind of like gives you a little bit of like pause on that.
Yeah.
Like, well, maybe he's not really all there, performance-wise every single time and consistent, which is, just maybe how he fights. Just
I think you're being too harsh. I think he won the fight anyway. So, I mean,
But regardless if he won the fight, that's what we're saying. It's just lackluster.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like you need to be more definitive in all your fights in order to have a career that's going to go somewhere. You can't turn a performance like that. Most champions,
yeah, but he's not in a position where he can't easily come back in a few
right?
months.
He didn't get knocked out or submitted or whatever.
Right. But, if he had his hands up, he might not have had that big-ass welt on his face. So,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
You're right.
All right. So yeah, again, unanimous decision for Thiago Moyeses, however the hell you say it, and lackluster by both. A little surprised when you look at those stats that he won, but it is what it is. And now we're going to move on to another guy who's been fighting like crazy this year, Kevin Holland versus Charlie Ontiveros, who is Sideshow Bob with frosted tips.
Look at this fucking stats. Dude, look at the stats.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like, what the fuck?
What's crazy is the very first punch he threw, though, rocked Holland a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was a submission by Kevin Holland in
Verbal
the first
submission.
round. It was a verbal submission. Wasn't even actually applying a submission. When he took him down, his hand was behind his back, like towards the neck area, and I think he
like
fucked
a
up
rock
his
bottom.
neck somehow.
Giving the rock bottom.
Yeah, his hand was just in there, and I'm not sure what happened. Kevin Holland definitely said during the post-fight that it was his neck that he was complaining about, and they had to take him out on a stretcher.
Damn.
I think he came up from welterweight there
That
too.
doesn't happen
He
often.
was
in MMA.
he was like 5 to 7 pounds under the
Middleweight.
middleweight.
How often do you see that in MMA? Never.
It come out in a stretcher?
Yeah, well, not the stretch, but like you've injured your neck to the point where like we want to immobilize you and shit.
Yeah, it was
That doesn't
crazy.
happen.
Can you see if you can find if they've said anything about that?
Okay.
I think he's feeling.
He has all feelings.
Yeah, he has all
Stinger
feelings in
and
his
shit.
hands and his
Okay.
extremities or whatever.
Yeah, he probably was like you know
Stinger.
like when you kink your neck real bad when you turn it too fast or something.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. He turned it too fast when he saw it.
No, I mean, but
It
you
wasn't
know,
Kevin Holland bombing
Yeah.
on him.
like no, I don't know.
Someone called his
But-
name in the stands as he was falling.
But
he
when that
turned it.
happens, sometimes like shit goes numb. Sometimes you can't feel anything.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
That
if,
checked
I
out.
mean, if that happened, and you can only imagine, that's 10 times worse. So thank you for letting me finish what I was saying.
I mean, sometimes when I lay on my arm too long, it'll go to sleep. But
a-
not like.
It's a funny
I move
idea though
too
to blame
much.
that. Like after the fight, like, oh no, I turned my head wrong when I was falling. That's what happened. I didn't lose this fight.
I
This fight
coughed
was,
and my asshole
Oh my
clenched up.
god, I hate
That was
all
the
of
end
you.
of that.
That's not what I meant.
He,
You know what I meant.
I would actually be interested to see Charlie Ontiveros fight at welterweight though, because I mean he was fast. He threw a nice God, what kind of kick? I can't even think of the name right now. But he rocked Kevin Holland. Then when Holland got back up,
Liu Kang bicycle kick.
he threw an axe kick.
yeah.
And that it looks sharp. So I'd be interested to see him fight again. I mean, his record isn't great, but
He took it on short notice too, so that probably lend himself a little bit
yeah.
goodwill towards the UFC.
What was crazy to me was after the fight, Kevin Holland was yelling at Arasanya.
Adesanya.
Yeah.
And Adesanya's like, "What? Dude, you've beat like 4 people. I don't even know who they are."
Why was
Okay,
why was
isn't he so
Adesanya
quick?
there? Like
He was there for
His teammate.
His teammate is going to be on the Contender Series.
I
so
knew
he was
I knew he
there.
was in the crowd. Like there's
Yeah.
just, they
Wearing
seem to have
a-
a little bit more people hanging
I
around.
love that
lately.
Akatsuki shirt.
I was
going
gonna
to
say.
From Hypeland.
I was just gonna say. Yeah.
Oh my god. Hypeland has the best clothes. It just sucks because it's all expensive.
He's a suave motherfucker, dude. Like,
Well,
he
it's
came out with them chicks the one time.
Well,
I was
it's
like,
a-
dude, Adesanya's the shit.
It's a shirt. It's a shirt built based off a robe in Naruto.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
They came out with a puffer jacket
Really?
that is $225 or $280. I can't remember.
I don't
Like,
spend money like that
can't
on
do it.
clothes.
I'm not into anime and shit, so like when he gets on those tangents, I'm like,
Oh, I love
I
it.
don't
That's the
care.
only thing I like about Izzy.
I love.
And besides
I love
besides
Naruto.
his fighting style.
I
I don't watch it. But I'm
Naruto's
saying-
good. Naruto's really
Naruto's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure there's great stories in there. The animation style is what I can't get into.
like
I
Bleach.
just get like, I'm like,
I've never
I
seen it.
don't like the
Bleach
way
is
it's
good.
drawn, but like,
Right. But anyway, Kevin Holland, he
needs a few fights before that fight.
he needs a few fights. And actually,
Like
in his
a lot.
post fight talk, he actually said that he's like, I know I'm like a while away from that. He's like, but I just don't like the guy. He's like, so I just can't wait to get there.
I mean, I don't think it just like 4 fights maybe before, like in my mind, because he hasn't even fought really anyone in the top 20. It
I'd
seems
say
like.
at least 4 fights.
Yeah, it's just like that's
and
a
that's
lot
if
of work.
everything goes great.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And like I don't trust.
And if you're
I
climbing
think
every
Bisping
time,
even said
like,
that on the broadcast that probably won't be for another like 4 or 5 fights.
if you win every fight and you take the steps you need to take,
Mm-hmm.
and like he's taking random fights too, so you know he said that too in the post fight
Yeah,
interview.
he said he's going to stop doing that, I think.
he's
Yeah.
done well for himself.
He said,
but-
please. He basically said, please just give me like a name. Like, let me fight somebody that has a name so I can start like.
and he's
moving
earned
up.
that now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we'll get into I guess the matchups too, right? But,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I don't know. After a certain point, you have to say no and say no. I need somebody like this in order to get my career some traction. There's no traction here. Like, it's a good win, but like I'm not gonna be like, oh, he deserves to fight Costa next because he beat this guy.
Right.
We can't do that every fight.
So you don't think a win against Frosted Tips Sideshow Bob is a good one?
I don't think it's enough to fight against Arasanya yet. I wouldn't be interested in that.
But
fight
there's really
but-
nothing going on at middleweight. I'm
Yeah.
more interested in seeing Kevin Holland fight than half the fucking top 10. Dude.
It's true.
Well, the star of like Fight Island and all this the summers like has been Hamzat and Kevin Holland and
Right.
Bobby Green to a lesser extent now since he lost tonight.
Right.
But like and sort of like this year being like the breakout sort of like action fighters in UFC, there's been a few people who made the most of quarantine and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it kind of worked out perfect, Bobby Green. It's awesome that the two people who've been like fighting the most were fighting back to back.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of worked out well that Bobby Green's the one that lost and didn't set that record, and Kevin Holland did set the record because Kevin Holland, I think, has been the more exciting fighter, and it seems like maybe he has a little bit more potential.
He's got more road ahead of him, too.
Yeah.
Bobby Green looks like he's going to be that fighter forever, better or worse. Wherever his career goes, he's not going to get that much greater. But I think Kevin Holland looks raw in certain areas, and that he has a lot more chance to improve on his like game.
And he's fun.
Yeah, and he's very fun, good personality.
Yeah.
Not very jokingly and sort of humble about himself, but also not so self-deprecating that he's underrating himself either. So.
Yeah, I'll tell you what was a little weird to me is even though he knew it was the guy's neck, he like didn't seem to really care much.
No.
He was like, oh yeah, it's his neck. He'll be fine. What's up?
Yeah, well, like
Good fighter. Get him.
Yeah, right.
I was watching that with my girlfriend, and she always roots for people who like are losing in the fight, and she's like, I don't like Kevin Holland. He looks like he's arrogant. I'm like, he's supposed to do surgery on the guy's neck after the fight. Like, there's only so much you could do.
Like,
Like,
do you always
Right.
flip to the underdog?
Yeah.
Like,
Or-
I want the guy to come back every time.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
something happen every time.
I mean, there's medical professionals there for a reason. Like, he's
Right.
not supposed to be attending to his neck and his body.
And whether this guy was losing or not, I don't think anybody should root for a guy with hair like that.
No, look at that.
That's ridiculous.
It's a cartoon.
Like, why did you like
what the fuck?
the hair? Just the hairstyle itself would be one thing, but then you also put frosted tips on
You
it.
turned yourself into a
I don't-
mushroom, dude. What the
I
fuck
don't
is wrong
understand
with
what the.
you? You look
it-
like a nuclear blast.
All right.
That's a mushroom cloud. All right.
Would you rather have hair like that or like sort of like a bad hairline, sort of like Usman or a John Dotson?
Yeah, because I just
What's the
shaved my
question?
fucking
Oh,
Just
I
shave
got
my
his hair
head.
like that.
Yeah, like the hair. Like at least he has a good hairline. At least he has.
We
like,
don't know.
Dude, I'm not fucking trumping it and like sewing shit.
You do not know for sure that he has a good hairline.
That's true.
It could be very well covered
He
up
needs
right
to
now.
actually own up to whether or not he has a good hairline. Pull his hair back.
Right. We need to know.
These are the real problems. In MMA.
Right. This is what all the fans want to know.
I feel like the hairline thing on Sherdog, it's a huge thing.
But
Discussions of
Chinese
hairlines.
letters on your chest is almost as corny as your fucking haircut.
Yeah. Well, he's got like 30 more tattoos on his chest now.
He's fine.
Because when he was fighting,
He was
I
probably
like, damn,
14 when he got those Chinese letters on it. It probably stands for poop, poop, and pee, pee.
I was pretty young when I got mine.
You got
Chinese letters.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I'm really glad that my dad made me wait till I was like 18 till he started
I
letting
have
me
one
get
I regret.
tattoos.
It's just my name. I'm like I could have used that space more, but
Yeah.
You should get a nautical star. Those are pretty cool.
yeah, I heard
That's
they're-
why
I
I'm
hear
glad
those
my
are
dad
in.
made me wait.
But me, my brother, and sister, we all have two apiece, and they're for the other.
Oh, that's not too
Yeah.
bad.
Nautical's
You
fine.
got those while listening to the Carter 2 back in 2005, right?
No.
Do you have barbed wire?
Same time.
Where
period.
I was when the Carter 2 was out was a place you definitely did not want to get tattoos.
Do you have barbed wire?
No.
barbed wire.
If you
Tribal.
If you
Tribal
got,
I have a tramp stamp.
if you got tattoos where I was at, you were doing it in secret, and they usually don't come out too good.
What were you stationed at?
I got a
Like,
couple of those.
Well, I wasn't stationed anywhere.
or you just
If you don't have a couple of those tattoos,
It's a place where they wouldn't let me leave.
oh
All right, so next fight.
dour note there.
So we're gonna go on to. It wasn't that bad. It was kind of fun. All right, so next we're gonna go to Maurice Green and Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy did win by a second round KO, or what's TKO really?
Not a great fight.
Not a great fight. I think.
That's every Greg Hardy fight. It's not a great fight, but
Yeah.
he managed to fucking. Bleh.
But I think the stoppage was also maybe a little early.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Green
Greg
was
Hardy
pissed.
was.
Look at the output though.
Greg Hardy was gassed halfway through the first round.
Yeah.
You wonder why?
He almost missed
Wait.
weight for heavyweight.
Yeah.
What? Like what? What are you doing with
Like,
your
'cause
life?
There's always something around
Weird.
this man.
And like,
always.
he doesn't even look that heavy. Like,
He's a pretty big guy.
but I mean, to be missing
I wouldn't fuck with
heavyweight,
him.
that doesn't. You're not that
That's a
big.
big
Jesus,
dude.
He has a lot of fat that like you should cut. Like you should not have that close. If you have 30 pounds of fat, to
Honestly,
cut.
how about eat less cheeseburgers or something, man? Like you can't miss weight.
You're
at
No,
not a
just
265.
use me and my
football
trusty
player anymore.
inhaler.
Don't trust the inhaler. He could have used the inhaler after that first round.
And like Maurice Green is the biggest, weakest man I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
He looks
Yeah.
so weak and like
Yeah.
like his punches have no power on them at all.
No, and it's weird because on the Contender Series, it looked like he had
Power?
Power.
See, I didn't see him on that.
He was
He was
terrified.
On the, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was on the Contender Series, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty
or
sure he was.
tough. It was one of the two.
One of the two,
Tough.
but he was
Not the Contender
terrified. He,
Series.
he actually got into MMA initially just to lose weight because I guess he was like a real fat dude, but he does not look good.
Now I got a root for him.
No.
He doesn't look good
So
at
I
all. He was
retract my statement.
terrified of Greg
It
Hardy.
looks like he tries to fight long and sort of like a technical. And I think it's at Jackson Wink, so it makes sense because a lot of their big fighters fight like that.
Well,
Where
he's very tall.
yeah, but like it seems like he just like once someone gets in on him, he has no power to thwart somebody off of them.
What's crazy is I'm pretty sure they actually have the same reach too, even though Hardy is I think a good bit shorter because I think Maurice Green is 6'7",
Yep.
but I'm pretty sure they said they have the same reach.
And I think that once I saw him fight against John Volante and barely win that fight by weird submission, that I was like, oh, Greg Hardy's probably going to piece him up on the feet. I think we talked about the fights last week, but I didn't see a route to victory because I knew that he didn't really have much power and his striking was so mediocre. you know.
Yeah. It's crazy to me that Rashad Evans is now Greg Hardy's coach.
Talk about hairlines. Huh, fuck.
He had dreads.
Well, sometimes it makes it worse.
He takes a lot of mushrooms now.
Does he?
Yeah.
Rashad?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
When he was on Joe Rogan, he's talking about like I eat mushrooms like I don't know daily.
It's like fuck.
They say
never saw a guy down.
microdosing's good for you.
Yeah.
He wasn't talking about microdosing. He was talking about eating a lot of mushrooms.
Oh.
Yeah, he said he ever
Maximum dosing is also good. For you.
since he said it changed his whole life and now he just loves tripping. So
What a good about
I'm
turn
good.
for somebody. That's
Yeah.
a good. I mean,
Well,
really,
he
I'm
was
not
always a
joking.
decent guy.
he's
Yeah,
still he's a decent guy. It's weird to me that he's coaching Greg Hardy. I don't know why it's so weird to me, but it is.
I think me and Kyle were talking. Well, I brought it up, but like it's weird to see Greg Hardy because it's like I have different opinions on like how you handle someone in this position of being like a notorious, trouble with the law and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like how much you deserve a MMA career, and it's like it makes you feel conflicted because I'm like, well, I don't like women beaters, but I don't know if he's convicted of that. I don't know what the story is. I don't have all the facts.
It was also 7 years ago, and
Right.
like, when does somebody get to move on?
And like and have like
Yeah.
how do you restore people in society that have these things against them, and like if you do a crime, what's so heinous that he doesn't deserve a right to live anywhere and like be a
and earn a
pariah?
living
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
be his own man.
Yeah, like he has
7
kids
years
and
later.
stuff to like take care of and shit. It's like it's weird. The narrative is always still going to be about him beating up his girlfriend whenever ago.
And he chokeslam a girl onto a pile of guns and tell her that you will kill her. That's a little scary.
It is scary, but like,
But how long? I mean,
could you?
we've
what-
all fucking been in bad
We've all
situations.
done
I don't know. Like, there's a lot of people that. There's a lot of people I know that are good people
Okay,
that have
noted.
done bad things.
Like chokeslam the girl on top
no,
of a pile
I've
of
not
guns.
done that shit, but I'm saying like I know a lot of good people that have done bad shit. Like they have the right to move on
Yeah.
7
But-
years later in their life. You know what I mean? Like, has he done anything since?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's like, well, what was in him that made him do that, and is that a thing in which somebody could work on in themselves
Yeah.
to curb and not do those things in the future and be a part of society that's productive and healthy and in like a normal part of society? And like that's the question for me is
Yeah.
whether or not that's a thing.
I
When you
think
see
it's
a
a- I
guy
think
like
it's a
John
possi-
Jones fucking up over continually, and then
Did you see the video of a guy trying to break and steal one of his cars?
oh, and he's following with a shotgun.
That's the
Yeah.
fastest I've seen him move in
First
a
of
while.
all,
Yeah, this just
if I
happened.
had John Jones running after me, he don't need that shotgun. I'm running anyway.
He'll decision you probably if he gets to you. 25-minute decision fight. You'll stuff a few takedowns and he'll output you on the feet.
You're like, weirdly, I came out unscathed. I mean, he won, but I'm
It was
okay.
close. It was a split decision. I won.
I was utilizing the foot stomp.
Oh, I hate John Jones.
Oh my god. All right, so Greg Hardy, another win by KO TKO. Power is pretty much his main thing. He looked a little bit more comfortable on the ground. I just realized the tattoo on his shoulder is says YOLO written really weird. I hate that.
It's the YOLO tribe. Look.
Oh my God, YOLO tribal. That's awful. I don't like anything about it.
I mean, he's probably a douchebag. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Deserves to move on.
Listen, I agree. Like, there's a possibility maybe he does deserve to like move on past that, but what he did was pretty goddamn egregious.
Right.
Like, you got a whole pile of guns and throw a girl on it and say, "I will murder you."
I will say that if you choke slam a man on a pile of guns, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The fact
That's
that the
Rambo
woman's
shit.
terrible,
Way different.
and that's pretty badass. The pile of guns makes it cool in a certain angle if it's a man.
The bottle guns means nothing to me. It could have been a coffee table. What is he slamming her for? I don't know.
But I think it's like more of a threat that you will actually
Yeah.
kill her when there's a bunch of
Oh,
guns
there's guns
involved.
under me.
All right, so I'm ready to see him fight somebody decent. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to Bryce Mitchell versus Andre Feely, and
It's a mass
frustrating.
they're both ranked 15. That's impressive. What the fuck, UFC website?
Look at all that. Look at the
Wait,
total
yeah.
100 strikes.
Because before I didn't even think. Wait.
These two share the rank of number 15, so
They're
that's
the same
cool.
person.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
They probably
This is a
updated
first.
one and didn't fucking update the other because they're.
Well,
just
Andre
hacks.
Feely wasn't ranked before, so I don't know how he
Oh.
would suddenly be 15.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He wasn't even
To
ranked
retroactively get
on those.
eyes on it now.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh.
Bryce Mitchell won by decision, and honestly, his takedown. I mean, it's not Khabib level, but it might get there because it just doesn't seem like it can be stopped.
He's
just
good,
looks
but
strong.
Feely kept getting up too. You know?
He did. He kept getting up. That's Feely.
It was a frustrating fight because it's like you're not doing really anything with your wrestling, and you're just using it to like
To win the fight.
to fill gaps in this fight,
yeah.
and then every time it gets to the feet, Feely's clearly better off. It's just
Yeah.
frustrating to watch that kind of
I
stuff.
wouldn't even
that
say
fight.
Feely was that better off on the feet. He got caught a couple of
Yeah,
times
yeah.
by
Yeah.
Bryce
He
Mitchell.
he got tired there towards. I mean, you have to be tired. Having to explode your hips every time you're on the ground.
Yeah,
to
him
get up.
trying to get up
Yeah.
every time, like it's 3-4 tries, and then he's up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure that was wearing him out.
His defense was decent on the ground, but it was
No
unfortunate that he
offense.
couldn't provide any offense, no submission attempts, nothing.
He had a few good sweeps.
Yeah, he had a couple really good sweeps.
And I heard that he trained with Gary Tonin or whatever.
He's not
the
that far
BJJ
off
guy.
from Mitchell. You know, it's a pretty even match, even for
Yeah.
different styles clashing. Like, it's still very even.
And but I don't see this fighting style of Mitchell getting. If he gets better, he can. But like to get to the top 10 and like fight
He
these
needs
fighters,
to do something when
Yeah.
he's on the ground. He needs to punch.
especially like when you get to those guys who can stuff your takedowns and have power to fuck you up. Because Feely's a good striker, but he's not that
How
powerful.
great's his defense
Right.
to where he's kind of holding you back? Like,
Yeah, it's crazy that you could be in like the full mount for that long
And not do much.
anything with it.
no.
And get out of full mount without landing anything significant.
Right.
I don't think he landed even up. He landed the least amount of punches. It seemed like in full mount. He was just like controlling them.
Dude,
Yeah.
he has a whole
I
where
love
the wild
his
things
tattoos.
are on his.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
my
that
girlfriend
is
has
cool.
where the wild things are in her
His
leg.
tattoos
That's
are
hilarious.
Don't let her see him.
Yeah, she's gonna love
she'll
him.
leave. you
I didn't
Dude,
realize
that's-
I didn't
I
realize
think
that's
he's-
what that was
I
on his
think
stomach.
He's cute.
We know you think he's cute. We could tell it was very subtle. But we
Yeah, all his
could tell.
It's
tattoos.
very subtle.
It's not subtle now.
You listen to his raps. That's your favorite rapper, that one, right?
Yeah, it's my favorite.
He's a rapper.
Does
by
he
the way.
rap?
Yeah, he raps.
It's like hardcore rap. I don't know. It's
not
like
very good.
weird.
Little intense.
Born Breach.
He has a rap duo with Tyron Woodley. I think they have a rap duo.
Stop
together.
it.
I'm just saying. He's got to be pretty cool. He put a whole where the wild things are.
Yeah. He seems like a nice guy.
Stomach,
Yeah. But it wasn't a great fight. It was impressive to see Bryce Mitchell be able to just kind of take him down at will. I was impressed by some of Feely's sweeps and the fact that he
That
could
knee
keep
was
getting
nice.
up.
That
That
knee
knee was nice. Bryce Mitchell also said he wasn't actually happy with his performance. So, I don't know. Bryce Mitchell.
He also hates masks.
Yeah, I don't know. What he hates
Yeah.
more. His
The masked
performance-
Avenger, Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah. Apparently, he decided he needed to go on a 5-minute rant about masks. Like, just leave it alone. Who cares?
Maybe he was sort of like not as motivated because he finally got the camera shorts. So what else does he have to fight for in his life? He finally got it.
Plateaus,
So
buddy.
that's it. Yeah,
It's
that
all
was
he
his
wanted.
championship right there. So why even care as much?
I just love how his whole thing now is cook him to the bone. Like
God,
what?
what does that even mean?
He's playing up the whole like.
I think Trump said that in a rally at some point in time.
Great.
No.
I don't know. I'm interested to see him fight up a little bit and, see how he reacts to somebody that's probably a little bit better off their back. And I can't really say better at preventing a takedown because I don't think the guy did a terrible job.
No, but it just seemed like strength-wise, like someone like Josh Emmett would probably fuck up Mitchell right now.
Oh yeah.
It's just like his anti-wrestling is, or like you look at
anybody in the top 10.
I could imagine
featherweight, really.
Volkanovski getting taken out like that ever.
No.
No, he's just too strong and has a better sense of like grappling, And I don't think Feely did a bad job.
No.
He did as great a job as his style was never even, suited to defend this takedown. So he actually overachieved in my mind because I thought he'd be taken down a lot easier. So
Feely, yeah.
Yeah, like just seeing him fight before, I feel like it was a bad matchup for him in general. So.
Apparently, he said before the match that
he was a better grappler.
That he was a better grappler.
I know.
That he said, I'm not actually scared about going to the ground. I'm a better grappler than he is. Like, what did you say?
I can see where he would
I feel
got
like
that confidence though.
If they would have actually like rolled and did something instead of Bryce just kind of
maintaining position.
Yeah, I think maybe that could have showcased that in a different sense. But there was no, he didn't do anything.
Right.
He didn't throw up any submission
That's
attempts.
why it was
really
frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a different game. Like pure grappling is a different game than MMA because there's a lot of neutral positions that are like dominant in MMA. That if you're on your back, you're losing in MMA. But for grappling sense, you could still be a 0-0.
Right.
But
if you have to know how to do something, and we learned that Feely either doesn't know how to or
had a game plan off.
Did they consider full guard a dominant position?
In grappling? Or
yeah, because like the old UFC game, if you would lay in there, if I was on the bottom in full guard, I'd end up you could end up winning the fight with the guy on top of you the whole time. Because they considered full guard a dominant position.
On your back?
Yeah. But, as long as you had, both legs around their hips, that was dominant position.
No.
I think the UFC game is 10 years old now.
Well,
I think it's for...
I think there might have been a glitch in it.
No, dude. I don't know. They definitely did.
Yeah, I feel like...
No, if they gave a fight to somebody who was on top of a guy, even though they were in... If they gave a fight to somebody that was on their back in full guard... the whole time in UFC, I'd be like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, so would I, but I think there's I think there's a period where it's kind of considered a dominant position.
I can't see how that's a dominant position.
I know
you
that
got a guy on top of you.
Mighty Mouse arguably lost to Miguel Torres back in the day when he was on top position. He was getting fucked up with elbows, and
that's different.
Yeah.
If you're getting fucked up while you're up there, then yeah.
There's a certain way to be off your back and still be attacking and be winning that position, but it takes a lot more to win that position than it does to the guy on top.
Honestly, kind of towards the end of this fight, Feely busted up Bryce Mitchell from the bottom. I mean, he sliced him up with some elbows.
And I sort of look at that as like winning. I think it could be. It's not like winning and losing if he's on top. It could be different fluid moments where he's winning the position and losing the position. Yeah. It depends on the activity of both fighters too.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. All right, so decision by Bryce Mitchell. Look forward to seeing you fight somebody a little bit more up on the roster. And let's go move on to Uriah Hall versus my favorite of all time, Anderson Silva. Uriah Hall did win by TKO, fourth round. Man, it was an okay fight. It wasn't great. Once they really started letting go.
Do you feel like Hall was timid and held back?
At the beginning. But I feel like he does that against everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Silva or Uriah Hall.
Because Uriah Hall, to me, has all the talent to fucking go crazy in the middleweight division, but he gets in his own head or whatever it is. For Anderson Silva, I think the issue with him as he's gotten older is he just didn't really want to change his style up, and he needed to, with the loss of speed, especially with his head movement, he needed to
clinch, grapple more.
Not even just that, just get a more standard striking, traditional striking movements, because he can't move his head just narrowly out of the way like he used to.
Defense is still there. Like his defense is still pretty good, but he doesn't have the offense anymore.
No,
and like
his offense was a slot. Like, I mean, that's what ended up getting him clipped. Was
It's
he
like
came
in a-
in and kind of
in a
just
Silva fight, you're just waiting for the moment that you will
But
clip
see,
him. Like
but
he hit
that's-
him behind the ear eventually, and it.
But that's what I'm talking about when I say he needed a more traditional striking, because he used to fight like that all the time. He could just move his head out of the way in time. Like, punch would come at him, and you'd think it connected, and then you'd see the replay, and you're like, oh, he just
He
moved out of the
rolls
way
with
like
it,
the
yeah.
like the Matrix.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that speed or maybe even vision as anymore. So he needed in his later years to switch it up, and he just didn't.
Well, his chin's bad now.
Yeah.
A lot of the shots that he would get caught with, he either recognize them and sort of glance and sort of take them and glance off his chin a little bit. Now it's like if he gets caught flush, it's like how Fader got later on in his career, where he would just get caught and it just his chin was just bad. And like a lot of it too, like I'm not saying like it's both, but like it is kind of both. It's just the middleweight division. The people he had style on back then were just like way worse too. It's both.
Yeah.
His skills have gotten diminished and his speed and reflexes. And as a striker, you know, it's harder to be successful if you're a striker and you get older. If you're a wrestler, you could fall back on a certain amount of skill set that could like lend yourself to win if you're wrestling somebody. But this is such a, you know, speed dependent game and reflex dependent game when you're striking.
I
It's
feel
just
like his footwork's still good, but
yeah, and like
He just doesn't have the speed that he needs to fight the way he's always fought.
and there's windows he'd find to snipe somebody and put, you know, effective offense just aren't there. The windows aren't there for him anymore because he's so slow.
Yeah.
And like his punches were like looping. He'd catch Uriah Hall with a few looping punches, and like they weren't crisp, they weren't fast, and it's like you'd never see that 9 years ago. And
No, you'd see pinpoint accuracy straight in.
yeah,
Like when he knocked out Forrest Griffin, he was literally backing up and hit him with a jab.
yeah.
right.
You know, he used to crush people with jabs just right on the button.
But like I said, I feel like though too that the divisions that he fights in have gotten a lot better and a lot
Yes.
more aware of his tricks.
I think that's pretty much every division, really.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's just like it's so
The
evident.
game evolved.
You look at Chris Lieben, and like a Chris Lieben probably wouldn't be anywhere near the
No,
top 20
today,
right now.
Right.
And they just like it ages out a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
The way you fight, if you don't advance your style too, you just sort of look like you're from 2005 still.
Yeah, and like you said, with wrestling, you kind of have something you can fall back on. You can take him to the ground.
Strength too,
and
yeah.
And Anderson Silva has 0 takedowns. Does he ever had a takedown
Well,
in his
never
career?
it's never been his game. You know?
Yeah.
And I feel bad for him because it's like, you know, he should have fought somebody way his weight class, his skill level, and like he just Uriah Hall to give him Uriah Hall is just like a disrespect to him.
Yeah.
He should have fought a Shogun, like Kyle said. You know, we talked about
Yeah.
somebody more his age and more his
It'd have been a
speed.
I think he would have
Fight.
fucked Shogun up.
Yeah.
So do I,
Yeah.
and like it just would be a lot more gracious towards him to give him somebody like that.
Do
Yeah.
you think that he should retire? Do you think he
Yes.
should
Yes.
go to Bellator?
If he goes to
live out the rest
Bellator-
of
He's
his career?
45.
Yeah.
No, right. I think he should retire. I'm just
He should have
I'm just
retired
wondering what you guys
after
think, 'cause that's a
Adesanya.
conversation.
Yeah, he should have retired a while ago. Maybe even after like the Brunson win. You know, I feel
Yeah.
like he lost that fight. Watching that fight when it happened, I was like, yeah, that's a sketchy decision because it was a close ass fight.
I think the Adesanya fight was a fitting end. Like
I think that would have been a fitting
you're-
end as
It
well.
was a passing of the torch moment, and like you
What
weren't
else you
going to
gotta
do
prove?
anything
Yeah.
greater after
Yeah.
that. Like
The moment those two shared after
Oh, it was great.
was pretty. I made me
Yeah.
kind of want to cry
yeah, it was great.
because he was. I mean, Silva's always been very
humble.
humble and respectable, and he was just like, you know, like this is your night, like enjoy your moment.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, dude.
It's sad, yeah.
yeah,
And
like,
that's
I
a-
was like, oh man.
You're saying he should have fought Shogun. Like I don't think it's in Silva to just go to a lesser opponent.
I
He's
agree.
going to try to
Yeah.
fight the best guy he can.
I'm actually glad he didn't fight Shogun. I mean, would it have been better for him to like end his career because he probably would have got a win? Sure, but at the same time,
Imagine
it's
if he
like,
got knocked out by Shogun. That's even more sad.
oh, that'd be awful.
Yeah.
And plus, like, I'm a massive Anderson Silva fan, obviously, and the idea of him like picking a fight where he just knew he could win, I don't like that either.
No.
You know what I mean? I'd rather see him go out
I
there.
want to
and
see
try
what he can still do against a guy like Uriah Hall. Really.
and-
He didn't
But-
look that bad until he
No.
lost, actually.
No.
Like he
Yeah.
won the first 2 rounds, I think. The first round for
He
sure.
won the first
for
round.
sure, the first round.
Second round was pretty even, actually.
Yeah, but you just realize that because I mean, nothing was he landing more strikes, sure, but they didn't affect Uriah Hall at
Yeah,
all.
nothing was going to end it. His best hope was to decision it.
Yeah.
And I I saw that Uriah Hall said something like, "Well, I finished Anderson Silva, and Izzy just won the decision with him." And like, it just
Izzy went to a decision with him because he wanted to go.
and plus it was a 3-round fight. If this was a 3-round fight, you know,
Yeah.
It would have went to decision.
he would have maybe lost the
Maybe,
fight.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he arguably lost the first few rounds.
Right.
And then it's like, I don't know, it just seems, and plus that was like
I
2
thought
years
about
ago.
that the other night. I was like, that took 4 rounds. I was like, if Silva, that might have been Silva's fight at 3 rounds. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would have gave him the first round for sure. Second round could have went either way. So if a judge gave it to Silva, I wouldn't have been like, oh, that's a robbery.
Right.
And he lost the third round. He was winning until the knockdown, but
Right.
he lost the third round. But it's just like it's like Uriah Hall was calling out Izzy all week for fighting easy fights, and it's like, dude, there's a lot of shit you could say about Izzy, but he doesn't fight easy fights.
He fights the top guy.
Yeah, like he doesn't really bitch about it either.
depending
like,
on your next fight, Uriah Hall, we'll see who fights easy fights.
Yeah.
well, he lost to everybody Izzy fought. Like, how the easy fights when he beat everybody you lost to? Like,
That does not speak highly about
Game,
you.
set,
Yeah.
match.
Oh, my.
motherfucker.
yeah, like Costa, Brunson, Costa, Brunson, Whitaker, who else did Hall lose to? I mean, he lost to those 3, you know. So
I do believe if Uriah Hall could get out of his own head with his skills, he could present maybe the most danger to Arasanya. But I don't know if he's ever going to get out of his own way.
well, it
He's
becomes
got a run to make soon.
Yeah.
if
Well, I mean,
gonna
he's
do
ranked
that.
number 10 right now.
it comes to a point where like you have to think, is that sort of potential in Uriah Hall imagined by people? Because it's like, at what point do you get it together? You know what I mean? Like, if
Right.
It's like you could imagine him being an ex-fighter, but when you have data of him being another fighter completely or a different fighter completely, then it's like, well, how much is that just in our own wishes of how he could fight?
Yeah.
I think
well,
there's-
just because we see flurries of it, like you'll see something, you'll be like, he's the next Anderson Silva, but with power.
There's
And then the
time-
next fight, you're like, he might never fight in MMA again.
There's time
Yeah.
at middleweight for it to sort out, though. Like, I think Adesanya should move up for a while and let
Yeah.
middleweight really sort itself out. If Whitaker's gonna be the number 1 challenger, let him win 2-3 more fights and be the okay. He's
Let him win it.
undeniably the
2 or
best.
3 seems like
2,
a lot.
I don't think 2 is out of the question though. After
1 or
the-
2.
Yeah.
but become undeniably the best.
Let him win 5 more fights, and then we'll
Two-
give
I
him a
said 2
shot.
or 3.
Get him a Fitch streak, John Fitch streak, and let him go back to.
Since you've already been beaten, it's like if he's off doing other things at light heavyweight, there's no reason to rush that fight. Like, become
Yeah.
undeniably the number 1 contender, and we'll do it again. But like,
Yeah.
why would we rush to do Izzy Whitaker again?
Yeah.
Why?
What they need to do, if Hermanson wins against Till, they need to do Hermanson versus Whitaker.
Yeah, for sure.
Agreed.
Because Hermanson would need that. Would probably deserve that, right there, anyways. So
Yeah. Hopefully Anderson Silva does retire. He would say that was it, and then all of a sudden he would say you never know, this is what
UFC
I've
fight.
done my whole life. Yeah, it might be his last UFC fight. Who knows what he does? Hopefully he just retires. I love him, but I'm not trying to see him get beat up in the cage till he's Ken Shamrock's age.
no, and I don't think that he would maybe. I mean, do you think he was on the juice? As much as the steroid accusations are out there, but
I think it was just to recover for the leg injury.
I that's my thought process. I
Right.
mean, he never looked like a ripped up monster.
no.
Yeah, not to Silva couldn't have been maybe, but I think that was why he was
Right.
at that period.
But if he goes to 1 or something like that, he could. I mean, I wouldn't give a fuck if he juiced up in 1 if it's
Right.
legal.
Hey, if you want to go to 1 and juice to the
Fight
gills, go
Vitor
ahead,
Belfort
man.
or whatever back in the run it back with somebody
I'll
over
watch
there.
that.
Yeah, I watched the shit out of that. Juice up Anderson versus Juiced up Vitor. Let's go.
That's a scary fight for Anderson though, because
Yeah,
Juice up Vitor is a
monster.
undeniably a
The
fucking.
Juiced up Vitor got kicked in the face.
He was on the juice. Well, he was on TRT then.
Right.
He got on after. He was probably already on the juice. It's like
Let's be honest. There was a drastic difference when Vitor was not on the juice.
Yeah.
He went full dad bod.
like
So
deflated,
he was
yeah.
not full dad bod when he fought Anderson Silva.
well, his first UFC fight, he was on the juice. I think he
That was the juiciest Vitor Belfort,
Yeah.
honestly.
19-year-old Vitor Belfort.
His
so.
fucking traps were
Told
to
you
his
the traps
ears.
are the fucking
What did they call him? Vitor
Gracie.
Gracie. Yeah, they'd use Gracie.
Oh,
I think they
yeah.
even had a different first name for him.
Yeah, it
too.
was like something weird and off. But I think they just did it just for the notoriety of the Gracie name.
Yeah.
And he trained with him too. But I don't think
They're like, this is Frank Gracie.
Yeah, just like,
Oh yeah, that.
what are you gonna say? He's Brazilian. What the fuck? He's a Gracie. Because that's the only Brazilians. That
Well, no, if you're a Gracie, your name has to be spelled with a K, but it not be pronounced.
yeah, Ron Gracie, right?
Ron.
Well, with a K though.
No, I think they do call him Kron. I don't know.
Yeah, they do. I think.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, Neiman Gracie's pretty good in Bellator. He's a good
Yeah,
fighter. He
he's good
beat
too.
he beat Fitch, and he's probably gonna get the welterweight title shot next. If he probably should fight MVP. I
Hoist
imagine.
Gracie's the goat.
That'll be. I
hate
want
when
that to
people
happen
say
because I
that
want
shit.
MVP to be exposed.
Yeah.
Like fully
I
exposed.
can't lie though. What Hoist Gracie did was
It's
fucking
incredible,
impressive.
but like to be like, oh, today he would step in there and do, like, shut up.
no,
dude.
he wouldn't. But man, he was beating guys that like outweighed him by like double his
Yeah.
weight. That's crazy.
He showed the world like, this is what.
I heard he was
jiu-jitsu
the
can
worst
do.
Gracie though. I heard that he was like the like in the family he was the worst one.
Yeah, I don't know why the name of the one that everybody says is the best is escaping me, and I don't think he ever really fought in any big MMA promotion.
No.
I can't.
Yeah, Hickson Gracie.
Yeah, Hickson. Yeah.
And yeah, it's like legendary. He's like 200-0 in like street fights or something stupid, and it's like, who? Okay, like
Is he?
yeah,
Street
really?
fights. But you don't know. What
Like,
if they had weapons?
I
That's
mean,
Do a
impressive.
Kumite with Frank Du.
Listen, if there was a Kumite, I would go.
But also,
Dude, you
like,
realize that it would have to be like 7 billion fights, a 36-man tournament or whatever. Like the math to that adds up to like more people that are on Earth.
Why does that?
Frank Du said he was in a 38-man tournament or some
okay,
shit.
yeah.
To do Blood
where was
Sport.
that at? Like, where would that be at?
But like that many man tournament, like
That's
that
what I thought Fight
multiplies out
Island
to
was
like
gonna
more
be.
people than are even on the Earth. Like you couldn't do that.
Yeah. But all right, let's move on to matchups, and we'll be starting with fuck the Bobby Green, Thiago Mousasi. I'm not going there. Kevin Holland, Kevin Holland at middleweight.
I would like to see him against Edmund Shabazian.
If he gets rid of his coach Edmund, I'm all for anything that guy does.
Well, I still like to see it because I feel like he's a good fighter that's held back by his coaching, but he's still pretty good.
Let's try to find where Kevin Holland is actually listed at. Okay, he's up there a little bit now. 21. Let's go up a little bit.
I know Brendan Allen's
Ian
fighting
Heinisch.
Ian Heinisch next week.
Yep.
Jotko maybe? Brad Tavares.
I'd like the Tavares or the Shabazian fight.
Yeah.
Actually,
if
yeah.
you want to go that far up in a step in competition.
Well,
I
there's not
agree.
really- I feel like there's not a lot of matchups right there. Like Shoeface Antonio Carlos Jr.
Shoeface?
That's his nickname.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's a terrible nickname. He's a great BJJ guy, but he gasses out every fight.
But I think Edmund's almost perfect because he called for somebody that he wanted to name.
Well-
Marvin Vittori looks like a lesbian.
He's fighting Jacare actually in December. He
That's
does
a
look like
really bad picture. Of him.
That's crazy.
What does a lesbian look like, Dave?
Yeah.
Well, like
Bigot.
a butch. He looks like a butch lesbian. Sorry, I'm not taking it back.
All right. I won't make you.
But I think Edmund Shabazian makes sense because he said he wants somebody that has at least somewhat of a
He
name.
main evented the last time he fought, so he sort of has a name right now.
Yeah, Edmund's coming off, but people were pretty hyped about him, and he's coming off a loss, so the jump back makes a little bit of sense for him.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot like the style matchup too with him and Edmund's pretty fun. Like Edmund, Holland seems like he could do a lot of the stuff pretty well. He can grapple, he can strike. In that, like it's not so overwhelming. Like Brunson was a great grappler, and he got exposed in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is a great all around MMA fight that would be pretty cool to watch.
Well, the next fight, Edmund, his coach Edmund is going to say he's actually a great grappler and can grapple with anybody.
Yeah, he will submit anybody. He's
Yeah,
Jacare
'cause
2.0.
that's what Edmund does.
Chakra 2.0.
All right, so I think we're all in agreement there.
Yeah. I mean, like anyone, like even like if Brad Tavares came back, though he needs to step down. I feel like Brad Tavares has lost 2 in a row against, I guess, pretty decent guys, but maybe even Jotko. I don't mind seeing that fight too. He's coming off winning against Anders in a boring fight, if I remember correctly. But I mean, anybody up there is pretty cool with me. Even Akhmedov, I wouldn't fucking care about that. Like whatever, like
He just lost to Chris Weidman. That's not a name.
Well, I mean, like, he's 12 right now, so he does have a ranking behind him, which I don't know why.
I just losing to Chris Weidman is just crazy to me.
It's crazy. Weidman's that highly
Akhmedov's
ranked
probably a good
off of
fight.
that win.
Yeah,
Like that's nuts to
look
me.
awful.
I heard he's a bad matchup for Izzy, though. I heard that Rumor mill suggests that he's very bad.
He presents them more problems than any other opponent that
like,
is
into evidence.
Yeah. It's like,
I heard
from his own head that he's a bad matchup.
That was I hate Chris Weidman.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan either.
All right, let's move on. We're going to be going to heavyweight because we're looking at Greg Hardy.
Yeah. And there's probably some interesting matchups here, actually, thinking about.
Yeah, I wonder what they have him ranked at now.
2.
In the women beater division, he's
In
number
the
2.
woman beater division.
6-7 years.
Let's keep going down. Where is he at?
He's pretty low.
As he should be. He hasn't really fought
27.
anybody.
Oh my God, how is Tanner Boser that low and he's fighting Orlovsky? And Orlovsky's like,
You should fight Ben Rothwell next.
and how is Latifi 24? He has no wins in the division. Like he would have been lost to Lewis, and literally that was the only.
And isn't Tom Aspinall? Isn't that
That doesn't.
isn't that Frank Mir's brother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like that in that picture.
Gus
No.
is 23. I wouldn't put him there.
Yeah, like he lost. He only lost. He just lost the fight. That's
I'm
it.
not saying he's 23. Though. I mean, he's probably number 16 or something.
But like Tom Aspinall looks like a 1950s Marine in that picture.
Yeah,
He looks
I know.
like he looks like it's.
Where's
doesn't
his
look like
Where's
him.
his
Oh
curly
my
weird
God.
fro?
Hardy
but-
should fight Ben Rothwell.
I
Actually-
would like to see him fight Juan Espino because he submitted Jeff Hughes. He looked like a great submission grappler. And I feel like this is a different matchup for him instead of a plodding striker that he could like knock out.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody to try to grapple with him and submit him is what he needs, I think, in this test. Test wise.
You just want to end Greg Hardy's career.
I just want him to go back to the NFL and do whatever he does there. And that sport that I don't know. Pay
He's not
attention to.
making it.
Actually, they consider what he did so bad. I don't think he'll ever be allowed back in the NFL, and that says a lot.
Yeah.
They put up with
He did a
whatever.
lot of shit in the NFL.
Yeah.
Unless you protest police brutality by kneeling, and then
Maurice
also,
Jones.
then you're also out of there as well.
Was
It's
it
the
Maurice
same
Jones
offense.
Drew?
Yeah.
Same offense.
Ray Rice is the one that he's gone forever.
Yeah,
after
he
that.
cold cocked that.
Yeah,
girl,
dude, he
though.
beat her up in the
Man.
elevator.
The elevator, right?
That was fucking wild.
Could
Yeah.
you imagine getting someone beating you up in an elevator?
The optics of the Ray
Yeah.
Rice one, it just looks so bad. It was just like, dude, you're never coming back. They're never forgiving you for that one.
Well,
I can't forgive
It
him.
was so brutal.
It was
but-
so brutal.
Yeah, I've seen that.
terrible.
It was so brutal.
Being a fight fan and not a football fan, I watched that.
like,
footage.
I don't
I've
care
never
if
seen
she
him play
punched you in the
football,
face
but-
15 times. Do not punch a woman like that.
Yeah,
like
that's
that's
crazy.
just fucking crazy.
Especially you're a grown, strong man.
Right,
Like
you're
I mean,
an
anybody.
NFL
If you're
fucking
not
player.
strong, even if you're a man, but like, I feel like in general you shouldn't hit people in general.
Yeah.
Like there's different levels of it, but you shouldn't hit people in general.
Yeah.
Let alone a small woman. Like,
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I'm just I hate all
Like
of
if
that.
Kyle punched Cyborg, I'd be like, all right, whatever.
Dude, you think she could?
You'd be like, you'd be like, if Kyle punched
In an
Cyborg,
elevator.
you'd be like,
Bro.
Kyle,
I would
run.
knock her the fuck out, dude.
Don't let her meet her in an
Dude, I was
elevator.
thinking Shevchenko would like fucking light my world up so bad.
I love the
And,
guys
like,
that say
we were
that.
talking
though.
about favorite fighters. Shevchenko is one of my favorite fighters,
Yeah.
for sure.
I actually really like when I really like when back in the day I used to hear people say like Mighty Mouse is so small I would for sure kill
Yeah.
him. I'd be like, what are you talking about? I said if there was 5 of us surrounding Mighty Mouse, he'd
If
probably
Mighty
beat the
Mouse
shit out of
was
us.
a woman, he would still fuck her up.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I wouldn't even think I could beat Jessica I don't think I would. I would just get smashed by her.
She would outlast me because I'm gonna be gasping for air. Like, it's as simple as that. All of them are gonna beat me because I can't breathe.
Right.
Though I think there is a drop off point, like that. If you're top third, if you're number 30 in the flyweight division, women, I might have a
I
chance.
don't think.
I feel like there's a drop off.
Yeah,
No
I can
think
catch
offense.
you
there's
with
30
maybe
women
one.
in the.
I can
I
catch
if
you with
there
a
were.
heavy hand, like maybe. Like,
Yeah.
If I'm lucky.
Yeah.
But seriously, if you ever hit Chris Cyborg, just run.
Yeah, no,
Get out
I
of there.
wouldn't. I talk very nice to her.
Like, you're a nice lady. All right, so let's stop talking about punching women, and let's say I like
Rothwell.
I like Rothwell. I
I do
like
too.
Espino. I like Aspinall.
I think Aswell would fuck him up.
I think so too.
I think
Yeah.
Hardy and Rothwell has
Yeah,
some name
last
value.
three,
Like
I'll
you could throw that on a
TKO.
co-main, and like that's a decent fight on a fight night.
And
You
plus,
know what I mean?
Rothwell
Like,
has submissions too. So like, I want to fight. I want to see him fight somebody who's shown to be competent in at least most areas of MMA. Rothwell's not like a fucking like he has decent power. He has decent stand up.
He's
he has
great test.
Good submissions. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't want to see somebody who just like plods forward, which I feel like who he's been fighting. Just guys who are there and like can strike a little bit.
Yeah, they're setting him up just to knock people out.
Yeah, and like I don't want to see that test.
They're
again.
obviously trying to like build him into something.
Plus,
but
Rothwell's
it's like,
pretty
why?
he's pretty durable. He doesn't get knocked out very often.
No.
And he could last 3 rounds, I believe, and show like different looks on Greg Hardy's skill set.
Yeah, and Greg Hardy, do yourself a favor. Just stay in a little bit of shape.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Just stay like 10 more pounds trimmer.
I feel like it shouldn't be too hard for you to walk around at 260.
Right. and like your athletic performance suffers, especially if you gas out in the first round. Like
halfway through the first round, he was gassed.
Yeah, and you got to think, like, is that just because he walks around heavy and isn't in shape?
Well,
I
he threw
think
a
it's
lot of
because he
volume,
likes
too.
tacos and cheeseburgers, and which I do too, but I'm not a UFC fighter. So
You could be in the heavyweight division. You could probably
I'm gonna say no.
fight Maurice Green and be
I might be able to like run away a lot.
Let's test your metal, dude.
Like he won a decision just because the other guy couldn't hit him. He just
Actually-
kept running.
Dude, Tai Tuivasa would be a fun fight for Greg Hardy too. Just if you're gonna put him on the striker, at least Tuivasa
Yeah.
it shouldn't be a decent striker.
I got to be honest. I think Greg Hardy like has a lot of power even in the heavyweight division. I think he punches real fucking hard.
I feel like he punches hard, but like watching him fight, he doesn't seem naturally like a natural fighter to me.
correct.
He seems
I
like
don't
an
see it.
Well,
athlete.
because he's just an athlete. When, like
learned to fight.
I'm having a problem right now where, because I played volleyball, so I have square hips because that's what you need, and I'm having a really hard time pivoting and generating power in my hips because it's like
Yeah,
it's
you'll
like
train
memory.
Yeah, your body has just been doing a certain thing so long.
I played volleyball for 8 years, so
Yeah.
I mean it's really hard to break that.
And especially like in a developmental time, you probably did it when you're younger and your body's still developing, and you know. And Greg Hardy, I imagine, played football until
For his whole life.
taught, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like you develop in that skill set and that athletic performances you need. And it's like your body's just used to a certain thing. And it's hard to translate over to fighting whenever it doesn't. It's not always 1-to-1 being an athlete to a fighter. There's a little bit off there.
Yeah, until it's something like it's simple movements or something you have to really, really focus on until it becomes natural, and that can take a while.
Especially
Yeah,
like grappling too.
mobility.
You think you're in shape by doing like 2-day football practices, but if you grapple for 30 minutes, your body's just going to respond way differently.
Yeah.
Doing rounds on mitts or a bag or running, it's completely two different types of cardio.
Yeah.
Like, I get done hitting the bag, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm sweating. There was steam coming off of me the other day. I was like, oh my God, I've never sweat like this before.
And getting gas while punched too, like taking damage while you're fighting, like not even punching a bag, that's hard too. But like getting punched, and
It's hard to
getting,
control your
Oh,
breathing.
yeah, fucking.
Yeah, when you have a mouthpiece in, that's a whole different thing, is learning how to breathe with a mouthpiece in.
And it's just like I don't know, like I feel like Greg Hardy he's pretty good for what he is right now, but a lot of it, I feel like looking at him, he's still just like an athlete who's performing because he's coached pretty well at a good camp and has
Right.
a lot of power because he's huge.
Yeah.
And his techniques isn't that great, but,
But
you know.
is that ever going to translate to top 10? Probably not.
It just like heavyweight's the best division to be
For
like
sure.
that. It's just
Yeah.
like there's another division where I could say, besides maybe women, being an athlete as a woman, you could maybe go far
Yeah.
in the women's division. But it's like if you're a middleweight and you're like that, you end up like someone like Eric Anders, who looks like that too, but a middleweight version who's just athletic and big.
Yeah.
But anyways,
All right, let's move on. What weight class are we going to? Bryce Mitchell,
Featherweight.
featherweight.
I was thinking maybe like Dan Ige or somebody, or like somebody up there top
Ooh.
10, but like somebody who can grapple pretty well too.
So they moved him to 11.
Arnold Allen. No, he's behind him actually. He's on a 7-fight win streak, which he should be a step up, but Fucking-
I like the Danny.
he's
I
already
like,
number.
honestly, I like what you said, Josh Emmett, earlier.
Yeah, because he's a great wrestler. That's his like base, I think, is wrestling.
Yeah, and they're both on 3-fight win streaks.
Yeah, that could be a fun fight.
And the power of Emmett.
Actually, he's on a 5-fight. Bryce Mitchell's on a 5-fight win streak.
Yeah. But yeah, like even Danny Gate's coming off a loss. He's a great grappler too. Very tenacious, strong. I don't know. I feel like it's a very steep drop off in terms of like once you get to the top 10, these guys are all killers. Like
oh,
it's-
yeah.
Like though I feel like based off his style, Cater's actually a good matchup for him just based off of because he's a great boxer.
Oh,
But
Cater will piece him up on the
Korean
feet.
zombie.
I know I
Cater-
say that about Feely, but Cater will definitely piece him up.
especially the uppercuts coming in.
And Cater has way more power than Andre has. So
Yeah. I know Cater's like your other favorite fighter. In
I
the
do.
division.
I like his boxing. There's just something about his style and the way that he can.
I can't believe
I don't know,
Korean
throw together
Zombie dropped that
combinations
far.
you wouldn't think of.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well,
Sick.
Cater once he starts putting together the combinations and getting, I feel like he starts slow though.
Yeah.
Like he starts very slow in the first few rounds. He sort of has to ramp up and get into the fight. You know.
Once he starts letting his hands fly, though.
Yeah. Well, like it's that's concerning. Like at somebody like Mitchell because you don't want to start slow and get behind on the scorecards with grappling if you're not, if
Right.
you're not there as soon as the fight starts. I feel like that was the problem in the Zabit fight was that he got behind the scorecards and came on strong in the third round and couldn't. Though that should have been a 5-round fight.
Yeah, if that was that definitely should have been a 5-round fight.
that's
And I
bullshit
wish
it
it
wasn't.
was a 5-round fight because he was starting to really get his rhythm going.
And Zabit was gassed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I've never not seen him gassed in the third round.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ige or Emmett, I think would be good. Fuck. Actually, Barboza. Barboza,
Well,
though. I
isn't
think
he as a
Barboza deserves a
lightweight?
step up. This is featherweight.
Yeah, but isn't Barboza fighting the lightweight?
He's right there.
I thought he was fighting the lightweight.
No, he's fought Americani. Remember, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a lightweight.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean featherweight. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but he should. I mean, he came down. And he lost to Ige, and then he's still down at featherweight. But yeah, but I think
Which
Barboza.
I don't even know. I think wasn't that
I wouldn't
like a
wanna
shit
do that.
decision too? Couldn't
Ige
they go
was, yeah.
both ways? Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that to Barboza with Bryce Mitchell right now, though, because, like, I just don't want to, like, oh, we're going to throw a wrestler at Barboza right now.
They need to match up Korean Zombie and Barboza. That'd be a great ass
Yeah.
fight. And a new fight and a sort of a name value. Bryce Mitchell needs somebody a little more, less name wise, more skill set. And like Emmett doesn't have a great name really.
If Jose Aldo was coming back up, I'd match him with Barboza.
Yeah, that'd be a great fight.
Oh, I'd be.
Yeah, Barboza gets any of the fun fighters that you didn't see him fight at lightweight would
Yeah.
be great. You know what I mean?
Or anywhere around it, really.
When's Yair fighting Zabit?
Yeah, that's supposed to happen, right?
That was supposed to happen
Yeah,
in my mind 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I feel like they've been trying to make that fight for fucking years now, and it's just like everyone like I think Yair pulls out more than Zabit does, but they've also both pulled out.
That division's just not. I mean, even once you get to Zabit, it's just like I don't really think any of them can beat Volkanovski or Holloway or Ortega right now.
Well, Volkan obviously is so well rounded that he matches up pretty well with most of the fighters in the division that he could have a game plan that shuts down a lot of the fighters he fights.
I feel like that top three though is solid. Like they're not going anywhere.
No, well Holloway, I think if he fought Cater, it'd be a bad matchup for Holloway because he doesn't really have a lot of offensive wrestling to disrupt Cater's striking.
Right.
And Cater's a better boxer than Holloway is, I think.
Which is crazy to say because at one point everybody thought Max was.
The greatest featherweight
Of
ever.
all time.
Yeah.
Off of like 3 title defenses.
Yeah.
Like
Well, and who?
But Khabib's had 4. And we're, what I mean? And that conversation's very legit.
Yeah, but that's why he was way more
Because
dominant.
it's
Way
domination,
more
yeah.
dominant.
But did Khabib lose to Dennis Bermudez? You know what I mean? Like so like
In
he
his
has losses.
career,
Yeah, like it says he has losses
Right.
when he was younger that kind of like. But yeah, I mean I feel like Jose's still the best featherweight of all time in terms of title defensives. Connor's maybe the best fighter the division has seen at his peak.
Who was that? Was it Michael Bisping that kept he kept going back and forth. He was calling like 3 different people the best featherweight of all time.
I think.
He was like,
Anyone
Jose
who's-
Aldo's the best featherweight of all time.
stand
Then he was
when,
like,
like,
Max
they
Holloway is the best
commentate.
featherweight
Really?
of all time.
Or
I
like it
can't
was
stand
like
it.
back and forth between him
Can't
and
stand
Anik
Michael
or something.
Bisping.
It's not that I can't stand Michael Bisping. I just can't stand when he commentates because there's a lot of times when it comes to the grappling and the jiu-jitsu that he will say something and he is not right.
Yeah. I didn't like Bisping mostly through his career, but like that dude gained my respect towards the end, like far
Yeah.
and away.
Well, it's
Especially
cra-
fighting with one eye. Dude.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
learning. I always like the story was that his eyes okay.
It's
he's
like a
gonna
fake
have
eye.
to get surgery in it when he finishes his career because
Yeah.
if they fix it and then it gets hurt again, it can fuck it up forever. That was the story.
Yeah.
But really, he was fucking blind in one eye.
Yeah, didn't he put a picture up without his eye in or
Yeah.
something?
No, that was fake, I think.
He has a fake eye.
There's a video. He popped it out.
Yeah.
It's a video.
Yeah.
He has a fake eye. Yeah, he fought with a fake eye. Nobody
I don't
knew.
know if he fought with a fake eye, but
No,
he
he
definitely
did.
got a fake eye afterwards. But he was 100% blind in that eye for
Yeah,
sure.
for
The Henderson fight could have been a fucking loss for. He almost got finished in that fight against
Well,
Dan
the-
Henderson back
the-
in the second fight.
Silva
Michael
fight.
Bisping almost got finished in the
Yeah, he
Dan
got
Henderson fight.
he got like fucking almost like knocked out, and arguably almost lost.
It
on
was
the
his
scorecards.
one title defense.
After
Right.
he beat Rockhold, then he decided to fight.
They gave Henderson a retirement title fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought
rematch.
because I'm like, dude.
Yeah, he got dropped like twice in that fight and like was almost knocked out again, circling to the right
All I
hand
think
side.
about Dan Henderson and Michael Bisping is Michael Bisping getting knocked
They
dead.
refought. You didn't know they.
I must have missed that somehow.
Yeah.
But when you're saying that, I'm like, he almost
He
killed
fucking
Michael
killed him.
Bisping.
But he almost killed him
H-bomb
again.
was born, dude.
I think that Henderson fought Lombard and he got a title shot off a Lombard win. He elbowed Lombard into oblivion. And
I
got a
really
title
wanted
shot.
him to get that title shot. Though I was like, he deserves it to go out on it. Like it was like moving him up the
I
rankings
do
a little
remember
far
it,
at the
I think,
time.
Yeah, I do remember.
But
but,
it was kind of a out of left
He was
field,
also
though.
on a little bit of a streak, and it was like he's old. Just throw him a bone at the end.
I think it
dude.
was Lombard and Tim Boach he beat.
Yeah.
Well, let's move
Yeah.
on. So now we're going to be looking at middleweight for Uriah Hall, Anderson Silva. We're hoping you retire, buddy. Buddy, he's my pal. We talk.
Telling you, Mousasi
My
next
card
year.
is on Tuesday.
He's gonna-
All right, so Uriah Hall, fuck Chris Weidman.
I
Yep,
like the
Weidman.
idea of the winner of.
Isn't it crazy? Weidman has a win over Uriah Hall.
I know.
He beat him early on in his career.
He should fight Weidman.
Maybe not.
That's a good
never
fight
mind.
for him.
He might be-
I don't want to watch Weidman fight anybody.
No, I don't either. But I want to see Uriah Hall's career come along.
But if he's going to come along, he's got to start. I mean, he's not fucking 18.
If
But you could go.
he
from
lost to
Weidman,
Brunson too, so that's not even. Maybe Kelvin. That's a pretty
I'd say
Yeah.
fun fight.
I just think Weidman's his best option to gain some momentum and
I
it's a
don't
good
think.
fight.
I really don't think Weidman gains him any momentum. I really don't.
From us, there's people that somehow, obviously, people still respect his name for some fucking reason, though. You know what I mean? He's,
I feel like he shouldn't fight Kelvin because Kelvin probably will knock out
Yeah.
Uriah Hall.
What about seeing where they move Cosmat to
Well, he's-
after he beats Leon Edwards?
After he beats him.
he's getting a title shot. If he beats Leon.
Yeah, if he beats the Edwards, he's probably.
Yeah, after he beats Leon Edwards, I agree with her. After he beats Leon Edwards, that might be something.
I mean, it depends on what. Like, I feel like he should stick to welterweight though. If he beats Leon Edwards,
Yeah.
he has no traction in middleweight really. I mean, he just doesn't. It's just
Right.
not his fault. But if
He
he beats
should
Leon
just go
Edwards,
and do a title shot
Yeah.
at welter.
like that Leon Edwards win, if he wins that fight, will propel him either next title shot or one away.
One fight away
Yeah,
or a
yes,
title
it's
shot.
true.
So like he should probably just leave this division alone until he could be dual champion eventually. As he's so young.
Yeah.
If he gets there in the welterweight, there's no reason why he can't come up and get an immediate title shot up here if he's welterweight champion and makes his name there.
Yeah.
There'd be no work to do in the middleweight division if he becomes champion at welterweight. And
And
defends it.
Israel's not. I mean, he might be busy. So
Yeah, it's just they haven't ranked
Yeah.
here, but you know.
Yeah. I like anywhere between Chris Weidman and Kevin Gastelum for Uriah Hall. Even though he lost to Derek Brunson, that doesn't mean that you don't run that back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like Chris Weidman doesn't want to fight Uriah Hall. I feel like Chris Weidman is going to be more entitled to a bigger fight in his mind. He won't. I mean, it's true though. I know Chris Weidman how he thinks. I'm fucking very aware.
mind.
Yeah,
I think we all are.
Yeah.
He presents a lot of problems for Israel
Yeah.
Adesanya.
and that's all he wants is a title fight.
I think I actually really think the best fight for Uriah Hall to go for is if he can pull off that Derek Brunson win.
Yeah, well, it'd be a rematch too.
I know, and Derek Brunson's on obviously at least a 3-fight win streak.
Uriah Hall is also in a position where he needs to win. He needs to get some wins back.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get through some guys that beat you already.
Kelvin, looking at Kelvin's last few fights, he probably deserves a step down. Like he probably should take an easier fight just
You
to get
think those 3 losses are a problem?
Kelvin.
Yeah.
I think it could be problematic for his career.
But like
I'm not his
I
manager,
still don't,
but-
I still see Kelvin as being like right where he is. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like,
The skills
he's-
are there.
He's
Yeah.
like the fucking little white version of Uriah Hall, where his mind's like
Yeah.
not fucking there in every fight.
I honestly think tacos are a big problem for Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I think I've heard him talk about it. I seriously think one time when he was having problems with weight, he was like, "I like tacos,
He's
man."
got a burrito issue.
Just fucking do the cheese and meat in a bowl, low carb the taco.
Right.
Don't fucking
there are
some
other
lettuce
options.
or whatever, some salsa in it. But like, just don't do the taco shell. That's all you need to do.
Right.
Cut your carbs a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the Till fight. I'm curious to see how this one plays out.
I think Hermanson beats him.
You do?
It's just
Till
it's a weird style.
Till literally has no good win since Cowboy.
Yeah.
But
He's
he
not had
looked-
a good performance really in like fucking 3 years.
He looked really
Yeah,
good
I
in
know.
the beginning.
And for a
round.
striker, he's very low output.
Yeah, and like he has a good like fucking straight, but like he doesn't throw that often, and he's like needs that window too.
But
to
he's a
throw
better
it.
striker than Hermanson, so it's more a question of like, what can Hermanson get in on him? Like,
Yeah.
Hermanson's a big middleweight and probably the best grappler in the division. Besides, I mean, like he beat Souza in a grappling match in MMA, so he arguably is a better grappler right now than Souza is. So he's probably the best, matchup for Arasanya in terms of like interesting matchups there. So I would like to see him win just based on the fact that he has submission prowess, to match.
It gives us something different to see Arasanya in, because Arasanya's been fighting all strikers.
Yeah,
So-
and like that, we've seen different strikers. We've seen pressure strikers. We've seen, Ranger strikers. And he's beaten every sort of striker we could throw at him right now. I like to see somebody shoot for takedowns and try to get him on the mat. And
you
see.
got to think it's gonna look like Maya Silva though. I mean, like if a grappler goes up against.
Yeah, well, or
Arasanya.
just like I think Izzy probably would finish Hermanson if he in a 5-round fight.
Probably.
If he couldn't get.
I do think Hermanson is very much a different animal than Maya, especially when he fought Anderson Silva.
Right, he is, but
'cause
I just
Maya's striking, especially back then, was
Putrid.
off it.
No, he's a better striker.
Putrid.
He's a better striker,
Oh
but he's
my.
not a better striker than Adesanya.
It was almost
is.
like Maya was
No.
like, "How do I use these?
Yeah.
What's going on?"
And like
here?
he had no takedowns back then. He had like
No.
no wrestling. His wrestling got a lot better, and he was more effective when he went to welterweight.
Yeah,
And like maybe the weight drop too, and being a bigger guy helped with his wrestling. But
yeah.
yeah, like, I feel like Hermanson though is like a lot more athletic than Maya is. He's a lot skillful as Maya, but he's a lot more tenacious.
Yeah.
Has a better understanding
better
of striking.
brawler than Maya.
And
would
like
be.
he's not the best striker, but he's pretty. He's a pretty decent kickboxer too. He's not like totally out of the water on the feet.
All right, well, let's move on to a little bit of news. We actually we're having a time constraint issue with the camera, so we're gonna try to move a little bit quicker here.
Okay.
You have any of those news pulled up?
Where do you want to start with?
Here, let me see the paper, and I'll tell you where to go.
What's the camera issue?
What
what's
do we
that?
got?
Yeah. What's that? What's the
It's
camera?
my battery.
Oh.
What's the percentage?
We were at 16 a little bit ago.
Oh, we'll be all right.
Okay, and that was like maybe 5 minutes ago.
We'll be okay.
All right, so first one, let's look up Dominic Reyes versus Yuri. Say his last name.
Proyaka?
Proyaka.
You
So
like him, don't you?
Yeah, he's fun. Have you ever seen him? Have you seen him much?
I'm.
Did you see him versus?
I probably have seen the fights. I just didn't.
He has
put the
one fight in
name
the
to
UFC,
them.
but he knocked out Ozdemir in his last fight.
Okay, I think I did watch that one.
Yeah, but
he's the one that came from
one.
One. He was
Yeah.
the champion there.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like 26 or whatever. Whenever I see somebody young and like in light heavyweight division, I'm like, fuck yes. Like if
I
you're
know,
young, like
talent.
yeah, if you're young and talented, like him and
Look
Rakic.
at
are,
Johnny
like, the top
Walker build up a momentum
Well-
that quickly.
If
yeah,
you want to add Yuri's
Just
name
by-
in there, just JIRI.
I mean, people
Knocked
were
out
hyped
5
on Johnny
times.
Walker for a minute, dude. Like,
yeah. They're like
it's fun to see a new guy at light heavyweight with some skill. It's rare.
No, for some reason it's not going to be on there. But they did announce that fight, Reyes versus Yuri Prochazka. And
That's a good fight.
yeah, I'm excited for that fight. I really want to see Yuri fight again. And Dominic Reyes has some shit to prove after his last fight.
It's a scary fight for him too, coming off a knockout loss against somebody who has a lot of power and a great striker as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, but at that top of the division, it's like you sink or swim. Either you're gonna turn it around or you're not.
Yeah.
It's hard to baby people whenever you get the top 5.
Yeah.
You know, you
You've
can't
been
do it.
in there, so
Right.
Right, he might become another Gus, where you sort of write off the fact that you must beat John Jones for a few years and sort of underwhelm, the rest of your career being underwhelming.
But we're about to find out, is it more John Jones deficiencies, or like is Reyes really that good? Like, because I think Jan's really one of the cream of the crop for sure.
Him and
Yeah.
Thiago, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be on the headliner
February,
for
right?
Fight Night for February 27th.
All right, so the headliner February 27th. We'll definitely all be looking forward to that. Next thing is Jan Blockovitz versus Arasanya. I want
Probably
to pull that up.
March, maybe. I think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it seems like that's for sure what's going to happen, and I'm really excited for that, actually.
Aren't they aiming Stipe and Ngannou in March?
What's that?
Yeah.
Stipe and Ngannou is aiming
This might be in
March,
February
so
too, though. This might be also.
I don't see. Will both those, will the
I think-
heavyweight and light heavyweight both be in March? Doubt it.
Yeah, never know.
I mean, I like to see that fight sooner than later, though. I mean,
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I'd like to see both those fights sooner rather than later.
Peop-
In March would be great, but
So if Adesanya beats Jan, do you think that Jones comes back down and tries to get his title back from Izzy?
Yeah, I think.
Ooh,
I
that
think
fight
that's.
becomes amazing.
That becomes like the biggest fight in UFC history,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, I would have
One
to
of them.
agree. That
Too
would.
much money for everybody at that point.
Yeah, like, can I get a cut?
Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll get more hits on this podcast.
Right, but Jan versus Adesanya, I really like that. Honestly, it does. I think Adesanya is obviously the better technical striker, but I do think Jan provides a very serious power problem for Adesanya.
Yeah.
His
And
right hand is
pretty lethal.
yeah.
In a division that he's untested at that division.
Yeah. And he's a skinny guy.
Yeah.
So if he gets close enough for Jan to grab too, like
The grappling threat would be a lot.
he's not going to be able to do anything if Jan grabs a hold of him.
Maybe.
I just don't see, even if he actually does have some decent ground game, Jan has ground game as well, and he's going to be so much stronger.
I definitely think Izzy's at a disadvantage at 2. I don't think it serves his style to put on weight.
No, he
at
should
all,
come in
yeah.
lighter. He should come
Yeah.
in at like 200 pounds. Honestly.
Yeah.
But is he fucking that badass? Can he, you know what I mean? Go
It's
to
possible.
205?
Do you think
For
he
sure.
becomes
Might be.
pound for pound number one if he wins the title?
Ooh.
If he wins,
The 205.
the
Do you think he'd
205?
be like have an argument for being pound for pound?
He might have to defend that title.
he might have to.
Before I would like
listen.
put him over even Khabib right now.
Listen, where that ends up going is if he beats
He's gotta
Jan,
fight
I think
Jones.
there's a good chance that Jones does come like, okay, now I'm going to go back and
Yeah.
have that title fight. That's going to be the craziest fight ever. And then if he beats Jones, there's no way he's not pound for
done number
pound.
one. He's
Yeah.
GOAT at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
especially being undefeated, also like Khabib, because I would say
Yes.
that his resume would look a lot stronger than Khabib's right now.
It would
Because
look better
Khabib,
than anybody's, really. Like
Jones
he's,
and Jan at the
and
205.
he's finished
Oh, yeah.
everybody, like almost everybody, and like
Yeah.
he's been exciting and flashy the entire time.
and
Like,
and also too like sort of like how Connor was with like manifest destiny of your career and saying this is what I'm gonna
I'm
do.
gonna do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it would, dude. He's a runaway train right now.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. That's probably one of the fights I'm most excited for in this coming year.
I feel bad though because that sort of undermines the fight next week between Santos and Glover, but also like
That's important
don't-
too. Though.
yeah, and, like it's like that was gonna be the number one contender fight for me. Now that Izzy's in the title picture, I feel kind of bad that this fight lost its luster
Yeah.
as that number one contendership fight.
Still, you got to think that Santos, whoever wins that fight, still gets the next shot after that,
That's
unless they
important.
decide to run it back
It's-
between Jan and. Well, no, because then John Jones. Yeah,
It could
it
depend
really
on the
pushes it back.
It
Actually,
can depend on the performance though. Like if Santos wipes him the fuck out.
then
Yeah.
that claim is a lot stronger.
Yeah.
but if Jones, like if Adesanya wins that fight and then Jones
He's-
says he's going to come down, they're skipping
He's getting
everybody for
leapfrogged.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like I don't know. I feel like this compelling aspect of it, I don't find Glover or Santos right now as compelling as like Izzy versus Jones
No.
or Izzy versus Jan. I just I feel bad
Yeah.
for
And
him.
I ultimately Santos is my that's the guy I want to see win the light heavyweight title.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but the Adesanya picture is much more like enticing to me. So I would rather see that.
Right.
And if he loses too, he could always just go back down to middleweight, and it's not as much.
Yeah.
He looks more ballsy going up, and even if he does lose, it doesn't really do. I mean, it's sort of
still be the middleweight king.
yeah. The shine of his career is kind of like taking a hit, but it's not as like bad.
Yeah. Then another fight that got announced is Dos Santos versus Cyril Gane, which is a decent jump up for Gane, but it probably shouldn't be. Dos Santos should probably lower in the rankings.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Cyril Gane, watching some of his highlights and some of his fights, I'm excited to see him fight again. It's weird because it seems like he tends to outclass people. He's actually known as a kickboxer, but he's submitting people. But he
Yeah.
does look a little sloppy, I'd say. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't look clean in his striking.
No, and he doesn't have as much power as you'd expect somebody that big too. He's not just like one punch knocking out people.
Yeah.
He has those, but it's not as prevalent as sort of just like a technical sort of kickboxer.
I think part of that is the fact that he's not like extremely technical with it, because it seems like he's not getting his whole body into it.
Seems like he has good cardio though, which is a very underrated in heavyweight. To be able to fight 3 hard rounds in heavyweight is pretty a great ability to have.
Well, if he's subbing people, maybe he's focused on that.
Yeah, well, and to be known as a kickboxer and be able to sub people too. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
And Dos Santos, to be fair, Dos Santos also has looked sloppy. His boxing, his striking is probably sloppier. Like, yeah. Like so, it's like I don't.
When you go on the attack with him, he kind of panics anymore. Like,
and
just straight back.
I feel bad. Dos Santos is sort of like a gatekeeper now. It's just like.
Yeah.
It's rough for me to even say gatekeeper. He really needs to fall back in those rankings.
He needs to get a Bellator, honestly.
Yeah.
Ben Rothwell's a gatekeeper. Ben Rothwell.
Shitting on Bellator. Everyone shits on Bellator.
I mean, like, really, though, because you think about Bellator, like, the thing for me is that, like, you could juice up if you're not a moron. So, like, if you go there at 36, your career could look way different.
If you go there younger and you juice, that's just going to present problems if you decide to go to.
So I guess we'll see how
UFC.
Chandler does, right?
Yeah. Well, no, because
he's gonna get creamed. I bet he does get fucked.
I mean, the problem, the reason people do that,
the
reason people do that with Bellator is because one person has had some success coming from Bellator to the UFC. You know, Eddie Alvarez. I mean, who else has really come over and had some real success from Bellator?
And Alvarez wasn't really he's a Bellator fighter.
That looks more like a circumstance thing too anymore though.
Yeah, he had a good best performance possible against RDA. So like he sort of it was like lightning striking at the time, you know, where he needed to happen. So he didn't look great until that win. He had split decisions against. He lost to Cerrone and he beat Pettis. Yeah, and I forget who else he beat by split decision, but he was getting busted up pretty good in some of those fights too. Yeah, so like he had meh performances on the way up to his title shot, and he had a good performance and knocked out RDA. But you know, credit to him, he won the title though. So yeah, but everybody else, Hector Lombard, no go. Yeah, you know, pretty much anybody else I can think of. What was that other guy's name? Brooks. Yeah, Will Brooks. Yeah, and like he has a win over Chandler, so that's like. I mean, like you know, like let's see what happens. I mean, I think Chandler though is a good asset just in the fact that he's a fun fighter. So even if he doesn't win the title,
because he can wrestle and he's pretty powerful.
Right, and he you know,
his fights with Eddie Alvarez were amazing.
Classics, yeah.
Well, Hammer's dog's whining, so we gotta
go. And honestly, I do like that Bellator exists. I think competition is important, and I think they do a decent product. And I think they have 2 fighters over there that could actually do pretty well in the UFC.
I think there needs to be
Mousasi and Lima.
Yeah.
Just the ones that tend to leave
Nemkov
Bellator.
Too. I
feel like there's a good possibility because Bader did all right in the UFC, and he fucking mauled Bader.
Yeah, and like also Nemkov being in that division is like he's right there. Seeing him fight with like Priyanka and Rakic as a young, great fighter, strong, you know, good grappling. So it's like they're all similar. He's just in Bellator, but like Bellator has also been like either they do a great job at signing prospects and snatching them up before the UFC gets them, and then like they got Aaron Pico. You know, that's a great signing, but they flubbed his like whole career by giving him killers. Yeah. You can't fight killers when you're 1-0.
Yeah, he's kind of
he's a good B league, but they're not the best promoter.
His career seems kind of fucked.
Their marketing is terrible.
Yeah. No one knew that fight was on with Lima and Mousasi, and that was the biggest fight of the year for them.
I know, which blew my mind. It was on a Thursday, which was weird.
Yeah. To me, that should have been one of the biggest fights just ever for them.
Yeah.
Like that's the two best guys that they have.
And also like they don't every fight that's big for them, like they don't have great like captivating fights anymore. Like I watch Bellator and like there's no classic fights anymore. Like it's like all the fights are boring.
To a degree.
Like main event fights you see, but it's either like 2 washed up UFC fighters that fight and it's boring or like bad.
Or green guys.
Anytime James Gallagher fights, it's normally rather interesting.
But they have fighters that are fun, but like the Lima versus Mousasi fight should be a great fight, but ended up boring.
What's Venom Page up to these days?
Crushing cans. Yeah, crushing cans.
He said crushing a can. I said be in a can.
Crushing cans.
I think it might be both.
That's why when you had made the statement about I don't even remember who you said, Neiman.
Gracie.
Fighting MVP. Yeah. I think Neiman I think he kills MVP because I don't think MVP is great. I mean, you saw what Lima did.
And also, Paul Daly sort of out-wrestled him, too, in their fight. And that's like, if Paul Daly's...
so weird.
Yeah, if Paul Daly is out-wrestling you, your wrestling isn't that great.
It's a real problem.
Semtex.
That guy's just known for a left hand.
That's like, people were saying, like, MVP is, like, better than Wonder Boy, and it's like, dude,
No.
Wonder Boy's fought like fucking killers, and that's all he's fought in his whole career.
MVP is not better than.
I wouldn't mind seeing that fight.
Yeah.
But, like
Yeah.
you wouldn't be
But
like,
it
yeah,
seems
he's
like
the
for-
favorite over Wonder Boy.
It seems for
No.
like MVP's fights, they're literally like they go to McDonald's beforehand. They're like, "Hey man, you want to fight?"
Yeah.
Right. Like he's.
I think they seen they had like he can do some highlight things, and they're like, let's just
against
fucking ride
Cans.
that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it gets millions of hits when he does these fucking goofy things.
Right.
and then
Sometimes it's
pokey
fun to
balls
watch,
people.
but,
Yeah, but
like-
also him getting knocked out got
Yeah.
millions of hits
It was
because
really-
it was very,
train
very,
went
very
down.
satisfying. Satisfying.
But like, I feel like
I was rooting for him though. I wanted him to, like, you know what I mean?
I wasn't. He's a real asshole too.
Yeah, he seems
He's like
like
a,
a
he's
douche.
a. I mean, he's a
I like Chael
massive
Sonnen,
asshole.
Chelsea actually looks like a decent guy.
Yeah,
And
and it's not the same. This guy is everything I see from MVP when he's talking. I'm like, wow, this guy's a super piece of shit.
I never paid attention to him that like aside from like his highlight and like post fight immediately, but like
Yeah.
never watched interviews with him.
There's fighters that I could tell like are like, you look at somebody like Colby and I'm like, hey, is that a gimmick? But also like I feel like it's too much of a gimmick to like he's
He
kind of a
believes
piece
some
of
that
shit too, a little
too,
bit.
yeah.
Like
Right.
same thing with MVP. Like he's just kind of an asshole. But someone like Chael, it's like, dude, he's
He-
fundamentally a pretty good person.
I've watched
Yeah.
Chael break it down. He understands wrestling, WWE. He gets it.
Right.
He
That's
gets
what he
the
was doing.
fucking stick and shit. Like he gets the business.
All right, moving along a little bit here. Quick, Khabib may not be done. Dana White said that he talked to Khabib, and Khabib was emotional afterwards. His dad did always want him to get 30 wins, and my guess is pretty much they threw GSP at him, and he's like, maybe I will.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Well, they say he's still champ, so.
Dana seems so confident though, like he's probably gonna come back and do another, because like I think he has the GSP thing in his back pocket.
Yeah.
And he knows like, dude, you can make 30 million. Might as well do 30. Make 30 million.
Yeah, and I know he's still the champ, but who else? I mean, who else is he gonna fight? He's not gonna gonna fight
Poirier
Conor.
too, or
He's
Connor
not gonna
too.
fight Poirier. You know, he's not gonna fight.
It's got to be
Gaethje.
GSP that's in the back
It was
pocket.
either that or Ferguson, but Ferguson's coming off a loss, so how do you throw him in there?
But
Right.
Dana was saying like I have exciting things. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the way I think he kind of revealed his hand a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's not that, but it very much seems like that's what it has to be.
One
to be
thing we
that
should never do
intensely.
is try to predict what Dana White is going to
Right.
do. But
Oh my god, right.
But to be that intensely, like he's gonna do it.
But, you know, I kind of, in some ways, like, I would be like, yeah, let's see Khabib do one more. And so other ways, I'm like, man, I hope he sticks to his word because I like the fact that he's kind of a man of his word.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see.
I also like, I don't know if it's just me, but like I'm kind of oversaturated by talking about the lightweight division. I'm like,
Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
the fights would be fucking booked, so that way I don't have to
I
talk about
know.
matchups with Chandler and Ferguson and Poirier. Like
Yeah.
I know that the Poirier Conor fight's pretty much done. Like I just want to see some fucking movement and some
Yeah.
things on
We've
the
all
paper.
been fantasy fucking doing
Right.
it for, for a long
Fantasy
time.
fucking.
Yeah. Fantasy football in it for a long time.
This has turned into a different podcast.
Fantasy fucking podcast.
All right. So,
Andre Feely though, right?
Oh my god.
So moving right along, the last thing I did want to touch on briefly, and you can try to look for a picture of this, Jacob. Jared Cannonier, broken arm. So we were all, I don't know if we touched on it
Certainly
before,
got
but
kicked in it.
the broken arm is pretty serious once you actually see the
Yeah,
picture
no
of it.
wonder he wasn't throwing hands.
Yeah, like if you threw that arm, you're crazy because you just destroyed.
It-
Look
I
at images.
It doesn't change in my mind, like, oh, did the right fighter win? But, like, you know,
Right.
how could that fight have went? We don't know. But it doesn't change in my mind because, like, he lethally
There it is,
kicked
right
you
there.
right in the arm and it broke it. So
Yeah.
he fucked you up.
Right, right.
Like,
But it does say like maybe something would have been different. But look at
Yeah.
that. That is gross.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you ever broken both these bones?
No.
It gets bad.
Man.
I've had look at this.
Oh, that's not okay, man.
It's a scar
see
tissue.
that?
Oh.
I don't think his right arm is broken.
It's just scar
Well,
tissue.
I don't think his
over
arm
a
is
metal
broken. I think it was a
plate in my arm.
conspiracy. I think he just pushed another conspiracy.
Just a QAnon.
Yeah, after the fight. Another one.
But your
was
arm gets
conspiracy.
very distorted. You break.
I don't
both
trust
of
anything
those.
this motherfucker says.
That's real.
Honestly, it doesn't look that bad. Like
It looks pretty bad. If you
I
look
know,
at
but-
if you look at the other one,
It's
compare
very
it.
The
swelled.
angle, though.
It's swelled.
The
Really bad.
angle though.
It's swelled really bad.
Yeah, it's bad. It's definitely broken.
Yeah, for sure. No wonder
so-
he didn't throw no fucking punches.
Fuck him good.
It,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It makes me think that maybe the fight could have gone differently.
It's a possibility. You never know. But I just wanted to point that out because that was gross.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's move on to the next card, which is the
Next week.
Thiago Santos versus Glover Teixeira.
Yeah.
It's this Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a bad card, actually. Not that bad.
Yeah, so we got Thiago Santos versus Glover Teixeira.
James Cross Simmons.
Uh-huh.
It's fucking
Gene Simmons?
no. It's what's the fitness trainer? Fucking
Richard Simmons.
Richard
Gene
Simmons. Dude, it's
no, Richard
James-
Simmons.
It's Cross with a Simmons.
Yeah,
Look,
that
hat
hair is
arrow on.
hilarious.
Look at it.
But we got underneath that Andre
You're
Arlovsky
doing it.
versus Tanner Bozer, Ian Heinisch versus Brendan Allen, Claudia Gadelia versus that name, Zoan Yan.
She's 12-1. That's not bad.
No.
I don't like Claudia Gadelia.
No, she gasses. She's got worse.
I don't think she won her last fight. So
No, she looks worse in every fight. It seems like
I can't stand her.
she's not as dominant as she used to be. Maybe the people are getting better that she's fighting, but
And for someone to be worse than Joanna in terms of like just
yeah.
talking, like,
Oh, like an asshole.
yeah, I hate Claudia.
I never realized how big of an asshole Joanna was.
Yeah, she's a bitch.
Like, she's
Yeah,
a
until
fucking
Rose
dick,
humbled
dude.
the fuck
still
out
am.
of
That was
her.
the
I
best.
still love her too, and I'm like, but
she was a great fighter, like great, you know what I mean, a dominant champion at the
but
time.
like the shit she said to Rose is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like,
Rose fucked her
I
up.
like Rose.
I love
I
her.
like
I
Rose.
love
root for
Rose.
Rose too.
Yeah.
Though.
It's hard.
Rose
To,
and Tatiana are my two.
it's easy to root for Rose though. She's like so.
I love
It's like sad.
I
It's
love
like
Rose,
sad.
but I also do. I still like Joanna. I mean, Joanna put on a hell of a performance versus
I like her
Wei
as a
Ling.
Yeah.
martial artist.
I thought she
Yeah.
won that fight.
I thought she
I
won it
did
as
too.
well. I
It
think
was
we all
close, though.
did.
Yeah,
it was
it's
definitely
very
close. I
close.
wasn't like pissed off at the decision.
Because the way she looked, it's just hard to give it to her.
Yeah, she looked like a completely
she
different
pointed
person.
her.
She looked like an alien. Let's be honest. It was like an
Pretty
alien.
sure she had to have some kind of like plastic surgery.
After?
Yeah, like
I don't know.
something. There was something that I think that was messed up. I don't know.
Because we've seen quite a bit of those hematomas. Mark Homnick's was real bad.
Hominick's.
Homnick's was so bad. It was so weird.
He had like Aldo in full mount in the last round, I think, and like I
Yeah.
wish it would have popped on his.
Oh God,
That's really gross.
Yeah. Sorry, I
Tell
said
me
that.
more about your
Man,
fucking
broken
fantasy.
arms.
I still think about that actually.
I wish it would have popped on him.
Oh, that's so gross.
I ain't got nothing to hide.
This would have
Open
popped all
book.
over him.
Open book here. I don't care.
Jacob, make a note. We might have to find a replacement.
We watch a sport about
All
about
steamy
people
and bloody.
punching each other, and yet we're over here like ew, ew, ew.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, that would be super gross. That'd be like the
Oh,
biggest
God.
zit ever popping
Ew,
on
okay,
somebody.
can we please?
Ooh, Dr. Pimple Popper, dude.
Let's change the conversation back.
All right, no, don't do it,
No.
Jacob. Don't do it.
bring it up.
No.
I will throw up.
Why
right
bring it
here.
up? You can look at my back on my phone if you want to see the picture. But
No. All right. Just because we are a little short on time and those other fights I'm just nowhere near as excited
Yeah.
for, let's really talk about Thiago Santos versus Glover Teixeira. I'm going to start with your
Picks?
opinions on it, Nicolette.
Well, see, this is like I said the last time. Every time I pick against Glover Teixeira, he ends up killing somebody.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna go with Thiago Santos in this one. I think
Yeah.
just because based on his performance one against John Jones and just
yeah.
all of his performances, that's who I'm gonna go with.
To have a questionable fight with John Jones when you have no knees is fucking super impressive.
Right. So yeah, Santos for me.
I think Santos is gonna win, but also depending on how he looks after his like double fucking ACL surgery or whatever, because I feel like it's a fast turnaround comparatively of how injured he was, and like if he isn't in the best shape possible, I feel like there's a way for Glover to like sort of weather the storm and take over this grappling.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a better grappler than Thiago Santos.
I would
is.
have to assume.
Yeah, like he was tapped out by Eric Spicely at middleweight, so like he's
Yeah.
not the best grappler. But I feel like it just if he can get Glover out early, I have more faith in that than I do of Glover taking over later.
Right.
But there's also that contingent of like, well, Glover has the experience. He looked pretty good defensively in his last few fights. Enough to give me pause about the Santos pick, but I'm still going to pick Santos.
Yeah, I gotta go Santos. I mean, Teixeira's kind of had like a little revival there. Like he's gotten in really
He's
good
looked
shape.
good. Yeah.
But like he was going through like
He's cute.
he was going through a part.
Very cute, yes. He's my Feely. He's my
He
Andre
was going
Feely.
he was going through a period though where we all thought
Oh
he was
my
aging
God.
out. Like we
Yeah.
just 3 years ago we thought Glover
was done.
Teixeira aged out.
And a lot of people were saying with Glover, like it's so sad that he didn't get into the UFC in his
Right.
prime because of issues
And
with
we thought
visas
it
and
was
stuff like
over,
that.
and it's been nice to see his little run here and to get back in shape. But I think it ends Thiago Santos, dude. Like, I just think that's the cream of the fucking crop. And, like, I mean, it is going to depend, like you said, how good does he come back on after double knees? Like,
he's also pretty old. Not old.
it's really going to
he's good
depend
up
on
there,
that.
too.
But
Yeah.
I have faith that he will. Like, that motherfucker he kept fighting with no knees. So, like, just repair
Right.
knees. I figure he's going to be okay.
Right,
Like,
that's my thing. Like, so if his knees are both still really bad and he
Yeah.
did that against John Jones, do you think that guy with no knees that fought John Jones beats Glover Teixeira?
Exactly.
Well,
How the fuck can I picture? You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like that there's been situations where Santos has underperformed in his career, and I hope that he's turned the corner and gotten over like having hot and cold performances.
Yeah, but I think he was in that run to Jones, and Jones, like, that was his takeoff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Unfortunately, he fucked his knees up. But, like, that's when I was like, this dude's got it. He's turned it on,
Right.
and he's fucking primed to be champion. I thought he was the most likely to
Yeah.
dethrone Jones if anybody was going to do it.
Though if Glover wins, I definitely want to see. I'd rather see Jan fight Israel because I feel like Glover is less compelling
Oh,
matchup
yeah.
for Jan.
Yeah.
Because Santos has a win over Jan too, so that rematch is a little bit more steam than a Glover title shot does.
Yeah. I am also going to pick Thiago Santos. I just think I think his striking is a little bit of a different level than Glover Teixeira's. I do think Glover Teixeira has a path to victory, and I do think it is actually trying to grapple with
He's a great grappler.
Thiago Santos. Yeah, he's a great grappler. He's got some good submissions, and I can't really think of any time where I've been like, man, Santos, he's pretty good at grappling.
Yeah.
So he's a grappler. It's just a matter of whether or not he can get it there. Because Thiago Santos, man, especially in that Jones fight, you saw a lot of good kicks and good kicks with no knees. You know, that's just I'll never get over it. I'm like, he's still throwing kicks. I don't understand how he's doing that.
Right.
It has
then-
to be detached at the end of the play.
Oh,
Flailing around.
hey.
And
I want to see it detached from his leg.
Hate that.
and
Just me being
Like
gross.
Michael
again.
Fulalele in the Lord of the Dance.
right. And then he's obviously just got hammers for fists. So I do think it's a Thiago Santos win. I also hope for a Thiago Santos win.
I'm gonna change my pick to Glover.
Fuck you.
Just to. I actually
can't
rooting
do
for
that
Glover. No,
Just
I'm
because we
doing
all
that.
went the other way.
I know.
I was actually kind of surprised he went with Santos because
I was
he thinks
measured in my approach.
Because he
towards
thinks
the
he's cute.
breakdown.
because he thinks he's
I
cute.
think,
Yeah.
I think he's cute.
Right.
But I feel okay.
Your spiel.
I feel like Glover's smart enough to not trade and force a grappling match, and I don't trust Santos to not grapple extensively if he gets forced to. That he's been, I feel like Glover's a lot more finishing ability than Jones does. So the Jones fight, like Jones wins fights, but he's
Yeah.
not the most potent finisher now in the division. There's other fighters around him that are better at finishing fights.
Yeah,
Like
maybe maybe
everybody.
we
Yeah.
overvalue what he did against Jones.
Right, and like same thing will happen with Reyes. We thought Reyes was the man. He arguably beat Jones in that fight.
You're
That
right.
was, and like he showed up against Jan and lost that fight.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like Jan might have more power than John Jones.
I
Right,
mean,
that's what
I don't
he needs, a more
disagree
potent
with
finisher.
that path
Yeah.
of thinking, but like, I hope Santos is the man. You
I
know,
well, like
so.
I feel like it just depends how the fight falls. That if I don't trust. Glover looks pretty durable, even though he's like he looks more
He
durable
does.
than he used to.
Yeah.
Well, I picked against him, so he's gonna win.
Yeah,
Because
well,
literally
there you
every
go.
single time, it never fails.
Hey, I've
I'm
done it
terrible.
with Khabib, but
I'm terrible luck.
it's just bad picking.
He just
No, I don't.
It's just me not wanting to believe.
yeah.
I just every time I pick somebody or I think something's gonna happen, it normally goes the complete opposite way.
I feel like also Glover is a smarter fighter than Thiago Santos is. I feel
I
like
think Glover Teixeira is probably one of the smarter fighters
Yeah.
in the UFC.
and it's very encouraging to see somebody change their style up because he was mostly a brawler and a puncher and would stand and bang on somebody. Once his chin started to give out,
He
he
aged
had
well, yeah.
enough awareness to change his style and force the grappling aspect of his fighting style.
like I wish Anderson Silva would have done.
Right, and like
Yeah.
he has those chops to fall back on, and that's like we said earlier, that ages out a lot better than a striking,
Yeah.
I would
career.
feel good for Teixeira if he wins this fight for sure.
Oh, yeah.
'cause, like,
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
He's a great dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, as far as the division
It's
goes, it's better for Santos. I'll never live that down.
It's probably my favorite moment of any podcast I've ever done.
I'm glad that's a thing. I'm glad you feel that way.
And I like your scarf.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
It's
mat.
a
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're cute.
Good thing Bryce Mitchell's not here.
What if I pulled it up and Glover's face was on it? That'd be the best part of the podcast.
Just the bottom of Glover's face. Like, who the fuck knows what the bottom of Glover's face looks
I'd
like?
probably be able to pick it out. I'm not gonna lie.
Look at that sad frown.
Oh shit.
But if Glover does win, I'll feel good about it, and I want him to get a shot because
He deserves a shot at that
exactly.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's older, and it's like send him out.
It's like give the man a shot and him retire either way.
I feel like this is also this could have been the title fight. This could have been also the title fight, the surrogate title fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just think about like this is the best fight in the division this year besides the title fight. You
Right.
know? So like this is a very important fight for the division. It changes now with the landscape of it. It's
a fucking fight I've been waiting on for a while. They've had to they've moved it around a couple times.
Yeah.
Also going to say I hope that I see Tanner Boser beat Orlovsky just because I want to see new blood in that division rise up.
Yeah, and honestly, I would pick Tanner Boser in that fight.
Orlovsky is literally just like a point fighter now. It's
Yeah.
just like very sad to see.
And I mean, I love him, and I think it's impressive that he's been able to stay semi-relevant this long.
Yeah.
I mean, he still wins fights. You know what I mean?
That nose, though. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
That's something vicious.
That's been broken quite a
blows.
few times.
Yeah. But anyway, I think we're gonna wrap it up. We got some time constraint with that camera. I left the charger. Anyway, so we're all picking Thiago Santos except for Brandon,
Glover, yeah.
who's picking his cute friend Glover Teixeira.
Friend's an understatement. Man crush would be probably more accurate. Dad figure I haven't had. Maybe. No dad issues.
Sugar
Here we
daddy.
go with the dad issues
No.
again.
Why does it always come back to that?
It's a lot of how I
We're
live
gonna
in
have
this
to
world
get you
is
on
my dad.
Gathering of Fools.
Oh,
Going
that's
through
the
there.
conversation I missed.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right. Well, this is MMA Fools. We're out.
I hate my dad too.
What? I don't hate my dad.